Welcome back to the College COD Playoffs. St. Edward's CSUN Esports in a best-of-5 series to decide who will be moving on to the lower finals with a shot to get back to the grand finals. My name is McCormiel. With me, Cash, as always. And as we just watched the conclusion of James Madison and Florida Gulf Coast University, as well as St. Clair and Michigan, the two teams that won each of those matchups were, of course, St. Clair and James Madison. So they will be moving on in the respective regions to take on losers round 7, which means that they also simultaneously qualified at least to get themselves into next weekend, which will essentially be an LCQ for the final spots on land. So, Amber, talking about St. Edward's and CSUN, I think it's more important that we start out with the roster for St. Edward's. This is a team that we've seen quite a bit of as well. Look, they have had their ups, they have had their downs, but Thresh, Eon's Vanity, and Reality, this is a tough team to go up against.
It definitely is, especially for CSUN, who, I mean, not only won their last match against Texas State, I believe it was, in the last round. Right now they go up against the likes of St. Edward's. At least fortunately speaking, right, these teams have seen each other before in the tournament, but no matter what stage you are playing St. Edward's, no matter who they're going up against, they are a team that's always going to be dangerous. You have to very much take it a map-by-map case with them and what they're able to do. But I mean, again, you look at this roster and you wonder, I mean, look at all four of these players, right, that we've come to know. It's one where, again, they could arguably punch their ticket to land today or even finish top 4 overall, and it wouldn't be shocking, right? Because, again, that's just how strong they can perform. They have some hitches, they have some inconsistencies, and that's kind of made for a season that's been, I guess, underwhelming to their standards, but still, obviously, very much in the hunt when it matters most, and can look to try to get all the way here today.
Yeah, and I guess the main conversation too is, like, you know, I guess it goes both ways for these teams. But I mean, the road to get to the aspect where they have to get back to a grand finals is they have to go up against New Mexico State in the lower finals, which is probably going to be the toughest challenge. But then Oklahoma Christian stands the tallest test at the end of the gate there. So those are two very stout teams that they're going to have to try and go up against. But I mean, just talking about this roster a little bit more in depth, I think the first name that immediately pops off the screen at you is Thresh. Being one of those kind of standout, extremely talented players, whether it's in CCL or Challengers. He's a kind of do-it-all player, and I think you're going to be able to not only see that within this series, but the supporting cast along with them should definitely be able to stand up to the tail. Looking on the opposite side, though, for CSUN, they just went to a barn-burning map number 5 against the side of Texas State, where I think a lot of people thought Texas State was going to be able to move forward, but Polo Torment, Dylan, and Ruben are going to be the foremen trying to challenge this St. Edward's roster in what will be a best-of-5 series fight to the death in a rematch of the upper bracket.
1-4 CSUN, that again, things are clicking at the right time, and every win that you get from here on out is only going to look to improve your positions here, well, whether it be qualifying for lane, which you've already locked, like you said, or even possibly by some stretch that they go out and win it here today, they could lock themselves in for a LAN appearance. And again, just exciting to watch one of these quote-unquote underdog teams look to pull off a couple upsets here late. Again, it would be an upset against St. Edward's. They've already faced off in this tournament before, and we'll kind of run through those scores here in a moment on what that was and what kind of the maps were as well. But for CSUN, you've already taken a map off the St. Edward's team here in this bracket. Now, what more can you try to do, given that you're coming off of a hot win against Texas State?
We'll take a look at the head-to-heads between each of these teams, kind of get a lay of the land for how their seasons went. For St. Edward's, a bit of a lackluster year, I think, in their standards, at 8-3 overall. Hardpoint obviously leading the way for them. It's what we come to expect out of that Hilltoppers roster. But things get a little bit more interesting when you look down the list. Control, not too bad, but the Search and Destroy has been their pain point all year long, and that is going to be something they're going to need to capitalize here in the late ends of this playoff stretch that they have for themselves. Because as we all know, not only does Search and Destroy win championships, but they're going to be going up against teams where they also have a lot of hardpoint and control prowess. Those respawns across the board are going to be very good on either side, so those SMDs are going to be very important to steal for a team like St. Edward's coming out of the lower bracket. On the opposite side, though, 7-4, not a bad season for CSUN. I think they're pretty happy with how things stretched off and were able to stand through out the entire year. But again, just like we saw with Michigan last up on the broadcast, you know, everything looks really good, specifically that hardpoint, but that control is really where that eyesore comes in and kind of puts a damper on the parade of these Matadors.
Definitely, and given all of these head-to-head records and what we've seen between these two teams, we can start to dive into what their upper bracket matchup was that St. Edwards was able to take. It was a 3-1 victory for the Hilltoppers, and CSUN, you talk about how well they play in the hard points. They took map 1 on Fortress 250 to 207. Well, wouldn't you know it, as we look at our map set here for this series specifically, Fortress is going to be the map 1 as well. So we'll be running it back there. CSUN are going to try to get off to the same start, but you talked about it specifically, right? The control, kind of the mode we're going to be circling going into this one, where this is where Cal State is going to be looking to try to stay alive in this one, whether it be swinging the series in their favor, possibly even closing it out in 3-0 or kicking off a reverse sweep. That map 3 is going to be so critical for this team specifically and what they're able to do against St. Edwards. The map 2 was on a CCL last time. That went to around 11. You talked about Search being St. Edwards' pain point. CSUN take it to around 11, but St. Edwards edged them out in that. 3-1 for an Expo control, 250 to 177 Embassy hard point. So again, Fortress, the only map that we see that's the same from that series. It's also in the same position, being map 1. I think that puts even more pressure on CSUN to come out and take this first map.
Yeah, it'll be interesting too to see what happens during that 3-night stay at the hotel. As things in this game have kind of come full circle. We see this map series and kind of set a lot. A lot of teams like to play hotel. It's a lot of teams' strongest suit. I think it plays the best in the game for sure for a lot of teams as well, which obviously eventually leads to map sets like this. But again, going back to your point, like seeing that Fortress hardpoint at the very beginning, the only map that CSUN won throughout that series, it definitely speaks volumes to, I don't want to say what St. Edwards was able to do in the tail end of things, but kind of how things almost fell off a cliff after that first hard point, because realistically, besides the S&D, nothing was really all that close inside of the rest of the matchup. And again, the fact that St. Edwards was already able to take a search and destroy off them definitely, at least in my mind, goes to speak in a lot of ways about how they have started to get a little bit better towards the tail end of the season against good teams when it comes to playing that mode specifically. So this is going to be obviously a match that a lot of people have pinned on their board as one that we didn't necessarily think was going to happen. I think a lot of people thought Texas State was going to be able to beat the CSUN roster in their last best of 5 matchup, but again, we're in the playoffs. Upsets happen for a reason. So now that CSUN is able to march their way forward, this could be the momentum swing that they needed to keep not only their run inside of the playoffs alive, but I mean, they've already locked themselves in the qualifier next weekend, so really neither of these teams has anything to lose.
Absolutely, and at least here, at least trying to take this matchup, right? Sure, on paper, CSUN's going to be the underdog, given that they've matched up in this playoff bracket already, and they already took a 3-1 loss. It's still going to be the underdog regardless. For them, the advantage does also, in the exact same breath, go that way that you've seen this team before, right? You've been able to talk about, okay, what did we do wrong in these respective, modes? Of course, the maps aren't the same, barring map 1. It's just one where you can talk about, okay, their search tendencies. We pushed it to around 11. We know we needed to tighten up. That could have made that easier for us. And again, you can say the same thing for St. Edwards, but at least coming in as an underdog, your mentality is going to be, we've seen this squad before. We know we can at least take a map, play them close across different modes. How can we piece everything together and minimize those mistakes that we made the first go around to give us a better result this time? It's exactly the conversation going in at Cal State Northridge. So, for them, again, you've already guaranteed your spot to play for land qualifier here. Just go out swinging, right? Nothing to lose, because really you don't. I mean, sure, you'll bow out of the tournament, but you've already locked that spot. And for St. Edwards, they're a team that's, again, it wouldn't be shocking to see them in a grand finals later today playing. It also wouldn't be shocking for them to lose this match here. And that's just kind of the unfortunate coin toss that they've given us this whole year, where they have ups, they have downs. Again, it's very map to map for this team. And seeing that they've beat CSUN earlier, hopefully in that camp, that's a vote of confidence saying, let's go out, do our thing once again, tighten up on our mistakes as well, and maybe this one could be a 3-0.
Yeah, and again, I think when you look at the St. Edwards roster, you ask yourself why they're so good. You don't want to discredit anybody on the roster specifically, but I think you look to Thresh and Eons as that kind of duo that really puts the personification of a good team into the minds of a lot of people. Because on the opposite end, CSUN does have their fair share of talent, and they have their fair share of ability to go out and win maps. We've already seen that against St. Edwards. But what Thresh and Eons are able to do consistently, map in and map out, being able to put this team just that cut above a lot of the other teams that are trying to best them in a lot of ways. It really just, at least to me, speaks a lot to kind of the team aspect that St. Edwards has, because when you pair in reality, you pair in vanity, these are guys that continuously put up great numbers to help supplement those two of Thresh and Eons in a lot of ways in those big moments. So it's kind of a shock in a lot of ways that this team has kind of fallen down to the lower bracket, like in kind of where they did, especially after losing 3-0 to Oklahoma Christian. I don't think it's necessarily a crazy thing either. But it definitely is a bit concerning, especially concerning where they want to go pushing forward if they do make it to LAN.
Absolutely so, but one where they continue to kind of show the upward trajectory and get to where they need to be with some good performances behind that duo you were talking about. But we've got our map set for St. Clair and SIUE, so while we're waiting to get into this one, we'll have a look at it and see what's going on between these teams. I mean, I know everyone that at least has been in College COD for a minute know this is a LAN rematch that we're getting here between these two squads.
Absolutely, and I mean, just kind of calling back to the last series we saw against Michigan with St. Clair, there's no wonder that Expo control kind of sneaks in through again. I think St. Clair are very comfortable playing on that map. Maybe did they get a false taste of confidence there against a pretty poor playing control team of Michigan? Maybe. But regardless, I think that pseudo-confidence could push them up in a lot of ways, and especially just trying to expand that map pool just in case they do get a shot on LAN, being able to play a newer map like Expo in the most important parts of the year, maybe catching your opponent off guard just a bit, being able to have a bit more practice for yourselves does go a long way. But just talking about the rest of the map, that Fortress Hardpoint, St. Clair, it seems to be a map that can kind of be up or down for them. I don't know if I love or hate the map choice for that map number one, but it's one they're going to have to play. That Mercado S&D, though, it's going to be head bashing to the A site, and that's something that St. Clair do really well because they can all play extremely tight-knit, and that's kind of been the strength of the Saints all year long. It's just the fact that no matter what happens on the map, even if somebody's having a bad game, everybody's still going to be willing to fly with one another. Nobody's going to be trying to make a hero play to get themselves on the board for a few kills. So that'll be interesting to see. But on the opposite side, SIUE, we know what they're going to be able to bring to the table. This is a very strong Cougar roster that absolutely can put the tail of the test to St. Clair and very well can move themselves on. Good news is, once again, just like St. Edwards and CSUN, though, each of these teams will have locked themselves into a play-in spot next weekend if they're not able to qualify for LAN today. So the LCQ still on the cards. Definitely going to be a test of time, though, to see who should take this one. Who's going to be the better team and a favorite potentially in a rematch that could come next weekend.
Absolutely. So it was a LAN rematch from last year. One we could see a few more times before we even get to LAN, if not on LAN once again. Either of these squads trying to, again, just play for that guaranteed lock. But this is a matchup that I wouldn't be shocked if we see once more, whether it be in qualifiers or actually at the end of the season. Exciting map set for these squads, and you already laid out kind of what St. Clair's strengths are in the first couple of maps and what they're going to look to play around, but that Expo control is going to be one to definitely circle and say, unless the Cougars come out with something crazy. You said it was a reeling, control team out of Michigan, but St. Clair looked really, really good on it regardless. Again, the way they were controlling the map and playing around their setups is something that shows they would have done that against a good or a bad team, So again, those gunfights go their way a bit easier, and I'm excited to see what the result of that one is, no matter what point of the series we're at in that conversation. But focusing back on St. Edwards and CSUN, a match we hope to be diving into soon. We've kind of laid the land for everything, right? What both these teams need to do to walk out the win. Again, I'm not trying to diminish what they're playing for, right? They're trying to get a guaranteed lock for LAN, but again, I feel like this round is kind of that breath of fresh air of, we're locked for quals. Whatever happens, we still get a chance to play for LAN. Of course, all of these teams are going to try to go up and try to get that guaranteed spot. They're going to have hard competition to go up against, but at least this one, it's not as tense playing for something crazy on the line. Again, technically, you would be going home for the day, but you're going to come back here in the next week to compete again.
Yeah, pressure lifted off the shoulders of each of these individual rosters. Small tech issue in the background that we're going to work through. When we get that all sorted out, we'll be back here for the map number 1 of St. Edwards and CSUN Esports. Don't go too far. We'll be back after a quick break. CSUN Esports, St. Edwards, best of 5 series that neither team will be sent home from necessarily, but at least will be knocked out of the opportunity. Get themselves a LAN qualification spot without having to play through an LCQ next weekend. Thresh will go ahead and pair himself for 2. He's already got himself out to a nice 4-0 start. P1 has been the LAN for the Hilltoppers to claim. So far, they've done just that. 20 seconds left here on the first hill as Thresh gets himself to 5 in a row, and well, he can continue to sprint around the map as he's looking for early streaks.
Gonna connect, gonna find it there early on, and again, whether the streak ends here or not, it's definitely something for St. Edwards that you'll keep in the back pocket, looking at how maybe even as soon as this P2 to P3 rotation goes for you. For now, you have back spawns on lock, 30-point lead, and now as this hill looks to pop, you're gonna have a lot of pressure out of CSUN from the front. Gunfight still gonna go your way. Trades abound. One more would lock down the hill for you, and St. Edwards going to be on time. Now you have CSUN working to this bottom right corner of the map, trying to get a spread, but it's a clean kill feed in for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah, you hate that if you're CSUN, right? You know, you have Eons who's trying to work there, is able to find one on the hill, gets inside of himself, top art, and really after that point in time, it was just about reality being able to lock down the middle of the map and send CSUN back to the respawn block. So 20 seconds of time, once again going the way of St. Edwards. It was last time where CSUN was able to come away with a Fortress hardpoint win. St. Edwards are, though, continuing to just push that envelope forward, locking down hill after hill and sending out reinforcements on the rotation. They have all 3 players here. There's still 1 player from CSUN that they aren't aware of just yet, but as Eons comes in through the double doors and is at the fountain, that's going to be a break that comes in with the snap of the finger. So not only locking down the scrap time, but getting out on rotation is the side of St. Edwards. Luckily, though, for CSUN, they're at least able to take down the first. Eons on 7 in a row, still has his AR here looking to set up.
Oh, I think it's really interesting that off spawn, CSUN went straight through the bottom side of the map, pushing for P3. There were still 20 seconds to grab for P2, but they knew that they needed to get across, needed to not let this rotation go the way of the Hilltoppers for free. It still does with minimal contention, and they don't even try to fight for scrap time. So already in an 80-point hole, with St. Edwards looming to pull off at least 40 seconds of time left on P3. They're still applying good pressure from the front. But again, whenever the Hilltoppers look to get on time, they continue to run up the score line, look to get even over 100 points early on.
At least gunfights go the way of CSUN through the front of the map. And as Thresh has 4 in a row for himself, he will finally get cut down off of the power position in the back line. So the last 20 seconds of time, if it goes uncontested, should go the way of CSUN without too much issue. Vanity, though, will be outside of the top doorway. Head glitch for Torment will be able to find one, and that should be the final domino for CSUN to walk away with the final steps of scrap time. St. Edwards now putting themselves out on rotation. 1 versus 1 gunfight in the bottom of Art is going to go the way of Dylan, who's at 4 and 10 on the map. Hasn't had a great start for himself. Plenty of time to get himself back into a swing of things here on Fortress. Up and on flank. Timing for Dylan will be able to find himself another.
Lots of empty time sitting here. St. Edwards still comfortably holding on to a 60-point lead as CSUN trying to find any footing, trying to land any shots. Thresh going to get the better of that gunfight and get a pinstripe kill feed, but the Matador is still going to be in the hill for the time being. Doing a dance around, trying to keep the Hilltoppers out. Not going to be the case as they are just possessing the map, possessing the spawns, and forcing CSUN to have to take these gunfights through mid-map and through the backside. Now going to garner some time, looking to try to cross that 100-point mark. But I mean, Thresh is already out to 17 and 17. I just, what more could you want from him?
Yeah, no, Thresh is teeing up as, you know, we got a highlight at the top of the show. We thought he probably would. Eons has gone ahead and had himself on the chase as well. Started out 9 and 1 of this map at 10 and 5. Now slowed down just a bit, but has a streak to work with. So does Thresh, who's at the AR laying down by P1. Sees a spawn in from behind, is able to make quick work of Dylan. Spawns now for CSUN, going to be on the left side of the map. But as we rotate over towards P5, St. Edwards has gotten themselves a great lead here early on. And if CSUN wants to be able to have some sort of some semblance on a comeback, well, Cash is going to be needing at least 2 or 3 hills to string together.
It just feels very frazzled, very scrambled out of CSUN. And I mean, at this point, yeah, you're down almost 100 points. It is going to be a little rushed, a little out of sync, and CSUN going to need to find some composure quickly here if they don't want the Hilltoppers to run away with this. But it's been a relatively cut and dry hard point. Really no resistance out of CSUN. Full streaks on the board. 4 players on St. Edwards, and again, no sign of life as far as them being able to close this deficit. This P5 maybe a good start for them as they're getting, well, the most time they've gotten off of it. But as soon as someone for St. Edwards looks to chow, they're going to force you to play the trades. They're going to force you to act quickly around the rest of the players collapsing. And again, St. Edwards find themselves a break here with the back 20 still up for grabs. P1 rotation also looking their way as spawns are in on this right side for CSUN, but it's just been clinical hardpoint work out of St. Edwards here to start.
Through the double doors, looking for a challenge to the left side. Thresh will be the first victim to fall. Still hill vacated here for a moment. About a 60-point lead for St. Edwards as we wrap back towards P1. Second set of rotations about to be underway as the hill pops. Matadors now trying to fly their way forward. Eons once again having himself an easy streak with the Vaznev in hand. Rue will shut that down for the moment, but Vanity's still going to be here, soaking up all the time that is to take inside of P1. 15 seconds gone. St. Edwards still holding. The Matadors looking to break once again.
Vanity trying to figure out where this next gunfight's coming from. Teammates looking over him and taking him. Now a combined 5 team spree here. Vanity's already 60 seconds in the hill. Thresh nearly triple positive in this one, but it's just, I mean, again, they can trust each other to win the individual gunfights. Their map spread is so well deep throughout it that they really have P2 unlock already. Sure, if CSUN walk away with this time, it's going to be good for them to try to, again, maybe get closer and closer to that 100-point mark. They're starting to chip away at it bit by bit, but as P2 to P3, I talk about it a lot with Fortress. It's going to be everything, and I think this will really dictate how the map goes. St. Edwards could look to put this one out of reach. CSUN could look to make a monstrous comeback. But it's all going to start on these next couple of kills, the amount of time CSUN can lock down, and what they do with it.
Oh, look, 2-3 was the set of hills that St. Edward's locked down for themselves, and were able to grow the lead to the exponential portion that it is at the moment. CSUN could look to do the same here, still down by a good margin, although they do have P2 in their controls for the moment. The kill that comes in from behind for the close spawns and Eon is going to be just enough to allow St. Edward's to break back on in, and well, now Thresh has got himself locking down the mid portion of the map, and the spawn trap for St. Edward's can start yet again. CSUN trying to make their way through, everybody forced to back off, and they're just trying to go ahead and clear off Thresh. They know that this is such a big power position, an angle that they need to cut down. He's on 5 in a row, looking for potential streaks here. We'll finally go ahead and get felled, but here's the thing. You send all those players to try and take out one person in the middle of the map, and St. Edward's was sitting in there for free. That was like everybody trying to take down a raid boss and not worrying about the rest of the mechanics.
Yeah, whatever you mean by that for Destiny references, no, I definitely agree. But it's true. You let them sit for time, you send all of your resources to one player, and again, St. Edward's walk away with another full 60. I mean, it's 211 to 84. This is what I talked about coming into this map and mode specifically, is you already played it against them earlier in the tournament. That puts so much pressure on the Matadors to come out and perform. If you do not take this map one again, I think St. Edward's take an immense edge of confidence going into map 2, and this could be a 3-0 series. So the Matadors put pressure on to run it back on the map that they took the last go-round. So we're going to continue to mount and add the pressure. Dylan will line up a few. That'll only add the pressure going into the rest of the series of saying, okay, we didn't take the first map that we took last time. Now we've got to find a way to take one of these hotels. And again, sure, it's possible. But with how flat they've come out in this hard point, they need to make a big stand, not only to make a comeback, but at least to get some win in their sails going into the next. Dylan's teeing up and doing his thing, though.
Hey, 7 in a row. You got yourselves a streak to work with now. So, you know, although things are not looking all that great, and it's a little bleak at the moment, things could start to be on the upturn. Just a moment. Dylan snaps for number 8. As another player challenging up the staircase. He got a good audio cue now. Thresh will jump around the corner, get cut down immediately. Dylan trying to go for number 10 and will snap directly towards it. So that might just be the catalyst that the CSUN roster needed. 10 in a row, double-digit kill spree. And St. Edward's, for the first time, it seems like in forever, are finally going to be forced to be trying to break in towards a hill.
It was 10 and 20 before this. Or excuse me, 12 and 20 before this spree.
No way.
I mean, just... Can we get a trade? I don't even care about the scoreline right now. Let's just see if Dylan gets traded.
Looking inside of top art, Eon's back around the spawn side. Reality of the double doors here for a challenge, and Dylan's just positioning himself in such a good way at the moment that he's just being able to take care of quick work. Everybody trying to funnel through the doorway. They run directly into Dylan's Vaznev, and now he's up to 14 in a row. Make it 15 potentially here in a moment. Finally gets it, but he's finally shut down at the same time. Up to 27 and 21. Before that, Zamber already alluded to, he had 12 kills in this game. 12 and 21, or 12 points on the dot. That's nuts.
And now it's a 20-point game. I mean, single-handedly willed his team back into this. Between the P3 and P4 rotation, they essentially tied this game. Again, you have to ride that wave to try to bring this back even further. St. Edward's now going to get a P5 setup, and kills start rolling their way once again. But we'll see what they're able to do here. Lead back out to 30 points. Just 30 seconds needed for St. Edward's to close this out. But you've made the run. You might as well try to do the damn thing.
You're right. 2 HP remaining here for Vanity. We'll sit in the corner. Nobody wants to challenge out just yet. Trophy system going to at least stun things out for now. But problem is Polo is not able to get into the hill because Thresh is overlooking. Vanity trying to push his way forward with the Vaznev in hand. Torment now on the flank is going to be able to find one now, make it a second in the hill. Good trade from Reality. Rue up to challenge next to the doorway, but the reinforcements just weren't there fast enough for Torment skills to really make that much of an impact on the final push here. 10 seconds remaining for St. Edward's to take map number 1. CSUN trying to push their way all the way through, but only 3 kills now for the opposition coming in. 3, 2, 1, it goes. The tick all the way down, and St. Edward's, despite a wild comeback there from CSUN halfway through, will go ahead and steal map number 1 away to take a 1-0 lead in the series.
And that one just never felt tangible for CSUN. I mean, again, I'm gonna be candid. Dylan single-handedly is the reason they were able to get back into that one. They were trying to focus on finding that one killer on the map that it let them get a full 60 on the back end of, 30 or so seconds on P3. So it let them get 90 points relatively easily. But no one else was able to step up beyond that. I mean, sure, Rue has a 23 and 24, Torment with a 22 and 24. But again, apart from Dylan's play, no one had a pop-off moment that made you feel like that was actually realistic for them. St. Edward's closed out in still relatively comfortable fashion, like you said, barring the comeback. But now we'll jump on board here. Another Fortress hardpoint between SIUE and St. Clair. And St. Clair have themselves a 30-40 point lead in this one. This P4 looks to pop in. We'll get about halfway through.
Interesting to say the very least. You know, Priestley only 18 seconds of hill time. Blaze having a slow map at 14 and 18, but still St. Clair up by 30 here. I guess that's where the conversation will start here for the Saints on the opposite side of things. Big Country leading the way with 24, slow-mo just behind at 22. Kill time looking about the same on either side when it comes to the distribution between each individual player. As Anchor finds 2, Art now pop, 15 seconds of scrap time up for grabs here. Priestley with the SMG will start to make his way forward for 1. Still a push here from St. Clair trying to break on in. They just want to discombobulate SIUE before the next kill pops. Over by P5, though, you can see those close spawns for St. Clair. The contestant is in, but it's a 20-point game as we get back to P5.
Spawn's a little split. Anchor gonna get good timing. Well, on Relay's not able to finish the kill, not going to be able to. At least the NATO cleaned it up, but it'll be St. Clair in early, the first 15 seconds going their way. Now 35 seconds needed to close out this first map as well, and SIUE need to get a big break here. Need to try to get them off this time at the very least and look to garner time for themselves.
Anchor up top trying to play the main AR here from SIUE, but needs to get down here in just a moment when the reinforcements get there. They need as many bodies as they can throw at this hill. Priestley, good shots all the way from the backside. Spawn, make it 3 for Priestley yet again. He has been huge all day long. The main AR for the St. Clair roster continuously putting forward his best efforts to try and once again get them to a loser's final, then a grand final spot, potentially here inside of the bracket for a chance to qualify for the LAN. Priestley at 5 in a row. He's starting to heat up, doesn't realize somebody's in towards Art, but he's going to be on the chase here in just a moment. Has dead silence to work with. 8 more points is needed. They'll have to go back over towards P1, but a break surely should be in a couple seconds.
2 seconds needed to close it out. You at least have pressure and contention here, but it's going to be a 1v2 for time. Streak's going to get invested. Can you find this kill? Answer going to be yes for a moment. As now things look to connect. 3 for 1 in the feed. 1 player left. Briefly just needs 1 second of time. The contestant once again out of slow-mo. I mean, they're hanging on, but for what?
249, 188. St. Clair just need to get a toe inside of the hard point. It's probably like a half tick of progress that they need, genuinely speaking. But as the nade is invested over the top, the streak isn't able to find anything, but Priestley will bully his way through the doorway. Vaznev players go nuts. St. Clair take map number 1, SIUE, down already in this best of 5.
About a similar map margin to what they took map 1 in the last time around against Michigan. Yeah, it was 250 to 193, so the St. Clair team, we talked about it in the respawn specifically, if they can get that 60-point lead at any point, they look to just stiff-arm the rest of the way. I mean, Priestley having a fantastic performance. You talked about the ebb and flow of SMG takeover play or ARs, and it's looking like Priestley starting to heat things up here towards the tail end of their last series, especially going into this one. But St. Clair off to another good start. SIUE going to be fighting off the back foot going into a search and destroy. And it's one that, I mean, again, what's going to Mercado, which I would still say, yeah, definitely favors St. Clair and what their play style is, what they're able to do. So interesting to say the least for both of the teams that are down 0-1 in both of these series we're looking at, because it's definitely going to be quite the battle from here on out, even if they take map 2, right? As far as the respawn prowess between St. Edwards and St. Clair is concerned, again, you hope that they don't find footing sooner in a series, but whenever they do, it's one you just got to hold on for the ride and try to do the best you can.
Yeah, St. Clair looking good so far. We'll take a look at the highlights here again from St. Edwards and CSUN just to get the conversational topic back on our main match here. Thresh went big early on in the game. Eons had himself a great hard point as well. But really, you know, despite all of these strong moments in the game, a few shortcomings happened throughout the middle of the map. CSUN got a bit of momentum, and really, that was just a single-handed effort thanks to Dylan, which we'll see here in just about a moment's time. You know, a few of these kills were great, but yeah, I mean, a 15 spree and a hard point where you're just keeping everybody out of Art and being able to rotate back over to P5 as well. It was the string of hard points that we said they needed to take, and it looked for a moment like they might have just pulled the damn thing out.
As soon as Dylan's spree ended, St. Ed was able to find form on P5 and look to close things out from there, but again, you can't deny how nutty that spree was. Out of Dylan, I just no one in a position to trade, and even then walking with 2-3 pieces at a time. Crazy run. At least, you know, the gun's hot going into map 2. So you just got to find a way to play this one strong. You took it to around 11. You're going to try to at least take it in that case if it goes there again, if not sooner. It's going to be on a hotel where, I mean, it plays pretty cut and dry as far as search and destroy is concerned, right?
Yeah.
Control the first bloods, control that mid-map, and again, going to have to win some ones at some point too.
I think in this hard point though, like the only shortcomings I can really say for Dylan that might have been a difference maker is just the 13 seconds of hill time. Mm-hmm. If he could have been able to be a bigger role player when it came to being able to get into the objective, I think that could have been just a bit closer. But I think that scoreline is a bit misleading with how strong this game really was for St. Edwards. Although it was about, you know, a 56 point game at the end. It's like it's cool. But again, that just doesn't really show the whole picture, and it's something that CSUN really needs to take to heart here and kind of piggyback off your point. Being able to really get your guns warm in that second map is going to be piggybacked off of the fact that yes, Dylan had a great performance, but Polo needs to step things up. 13 kills in a hard point, especially on Fortress, not going to do all that much. But as an AR player, you're going to a map where things can get locked down very, very easily over at that B site. Being completely candid here, Andrew, I really just want to be able to see some sort of a Matador slaying power that's not just with one person kind of lighting a fire up under everybody, whether that's pulling out a sniper or getting something to go over at A. I mean, you can already see St. Edward's just trying to take control of the middle of the map. They're not allowing CSUN to be able to set up their ARs.
Yeah, you just, again, my concern for CSUN is that at times they just play a bit too one-dimensional. And you said adding a sniper and search and destroy definitely adds a level of dynamics to your gameplay that can slow down, change the approach of the opposition. That's just not the case here early on. Torment sure able to find a couple, so now it's going to be a 2v1, but this bomb working towards the B site, they are going to have to retrieve it if they want to plant it, but they're going to hunt for this kill. And are able to find it. But again, to really drive that point home, you can't afford to play one-dimensional COD against a St. Edward's team who has so many facets, so many dimensions to their gameplay. It's got to be something different. You got to find a way to pull out a curveball. And there in round one, they took mid-map control. They were able to pick what site they wanted to go to following their first bloods and win the round out from there, plain and simple. So we'll see if an adjustment is made, at least on the offensive attempt for CSUN here. But St. Edward's already off to a good start.
Norman had an opportunity there. Maybe would have been able to catch Thresh off in an odd 1v1 gunfight. Could have snapped over towards the second, like the play that they made there instead of getting the bomb down, chasing back for the kills. Here, though, Dylan starting to make his way forward. Aggressive hit here from CSUN over towards the A site. Come to expect on Hotel. Thresh around the corner is going to get cut down. So 3 versus 2 advantage for the Matadors momentarily. Eon's looking with SMG in hand back over towards the A site, but has Dead Silence to work with. Going to make his way through the satellite here. Will Torment be able to watch this? And is the timing going to fall into the hands of Eon?
I think it's going to fall in the timing of Eon. He's able to find one, but doesn't know that a second is lying in wait. That will be the bomb carrier Polo. He's going to back up. Reposition with the sub, at least. Pass information. You've got Vanity playing deep. I would assume luggage. Or plat. Yeah, it's going to be luggage with a sniper. And, yeah, good luck getting to A. Really, you're just waiting for one of them to cross your path. Both players are playing split, hoping for a gimme 1v1. And Hilltop just aren't going to give you that. Oh. Vanity takes it there, makes it a 2v1. And now that'll be word to Eon to look to collapse around the site here in a moment or so. Either way, clock, lives, everything working in their favor.
I mean, that was perfect. Unless CSUN would have just completely sprinted through the middle of the map and got over towards B, that was a surefire round win. And, well, they put the money on they wouldn't do it. Right now, the bet's paying off. Polo to the back line. Has the SMG up here around P6. Vanity's going to get some good timing. He's swinging him out towards the left. It doesn't actually get able to... Oh, baby, that's not good. And here you go. 10 seconds left here in the round 5 that needed for the plant. Is he going to be able to get onto this inside? Oh, he did. I don't think he got it. I don't think he was able to get onto it. I think the little animation just might have put him out of commission, and it did. He was like maybe a millisecond off of it. So, St. Edward's 2 rounds go their way. CSUN, that's got to hurt.
That definitely does. Just having to complete the dolphin dive and then pull the bomb out, like you said, killed just enough. Vantage should have a freebie there, sure. You still don't walk away with a round, so again, maybe a sigh of relief if you are St. Edward's, knowing just threw away a free kill. They're going to get back to their offensive try, see if they play a little more around the objective. They had the idea going mid-map, giving themselves the ability to pick whatever side they wanted here. It's going to be a decisive push over towards this A site. We'll see how the first bloods go as they're dominating in it so far. And Dylan going to have some pressure up front, going to line up too. That doesn't stop Thresh from opening up with the first blood, though.
1 HP, survives. Gives CSUN the advantage early on in the round. Reality and Thresh, the last 2 alive here. Bomb in a precarious spot at the moment. Neither player really in a position to get themselves a good trade. I mean, I guess the only thing that's going for St. Edward's here is that maybe if you're Reality, you can force to sneak 1v1 here. Try to get things back in your favor just a bit, but... has no idea where anybody's going to be playing from. Sneaking up on towards this A site. Will Torment peek around the corner here. Bomb might be able to go down here. Doesn't spot Reality out just yet, so the timer will be on. CSUN going to be forced to rotate all the way back, and Torment doesn't push. He lets Reality get out for free, and now you have Thresh watching the middle of the map.
Fortunately, for the Matadors, at least you all group up through bed. So that takes Thresh out of play for a moment until he looks to get active. Maybe
So
here's some
smart.
movement. It's all going to be on reality, getting eyes on these players and in the bench. How quickly can Thresh get back into play? 20 seconds into dwindling. He's trying to kill time, but they're coming to bully him out.
I mean, he just needs to be able to find one there to give Thresh enough time to be able to wrap on back, but nobody had hopped on the bomb just yet, so this could be the difference maker here. He's going to have to go through the double doors. 15 seconds left. Shots are going to be onto the bomb. He just needs to stick it. Torment just needs to stick, and he will. Everybody else is able to go ahead and have a firing squad over the top. The doors get shut through. CSUN takes their first round of the search and destroy, and that's a beautiful play for everybody to wrap up and get back through bedroom. Smart there by CSUN.
Absolutely. It just, none of the timing in that round went away of the Hilltoppers. I mean, Dylan walks away with a miracle two-piece. Thresher opens up the first blood, but he's anticipating them wrapping back through mid. Zero of the two players that could do. Really heads up out of them. They go and find that kill. I think so often, one thing that's awful to see from whether it be just spectating or even commentating, right? You see players just shimmy, snake, try to take a gunfight at range. I love that all three were like, let's go find this kill. Let's just go and get it. Let's not, try to dance around it. He's going to try to kill time. Let's get up in his face and win this gunfight. They do. And again, the reward is around forward. Just a smart play out of the matadors all around. And now they're going to try to get over this A site and land this bomb quickly.
Reality going to throw himself a nade, but the bomb will go down. Polo gets away as well, but 2 kills already in for St. Edwards, and Polo weak on the staircase, forced to back all the way off, and he's got a firing squad coming all the way after him. So now it's a 1 versus 4 here. Torment trying to get himself in the best positioning possible, but the problem is he's in the middle of the map, and this is a long-range gunfight that might not be able to be advantageous for him. He's able to find one, still at 100 HP, but the bomb is being stuck now. Second gunfight goes his way, and Eons with the SMG going to be able to snake the head glitch, get himself the kill. So once again, Torment put himself in a good position. Unfortunately, though, the bomb is getting defused.
Yeah, and also maybe 4 too many gunfights to take. He has any fewer gunfights, and that could also be something that helps him. Gets 2 of 4, but I mean, again, when you have enough walls to run through, you might get stalled at one point. St. Edwards back out to a 2-round lead here through what is the mid portion of the search and destroy. It's been good from him, plain and simple. I mean, they had the laps there where timings weren't going their way in the round that CSUN took. But they've been dominating the first blood column. I mean, they're 4 for 4 on first bloods, and that is something immediately that would have to change for CSUN to turn things around.
We'll see what they can do adjustment-wise here on defense. Eons, Reality, the first 2 making their way up. Bomb could go down here in just a moment, and it looks like it will. Will Dylan get the good timing on the bomb carrier? The answer is no. Got a few bullets to connect. Wasn't able to walk away with a kill, and Eons will just burst in through the double doors, cut that player down, and now CSUN in a 3 versus 4 is going to have to retake this site. 30 seconds left here to make a play happen, and as Thresh is in throughout the middle of the map, he's able to find one, snaps and lines him up for 2. St. Edwards had 4 rounds here. They are making the quickest work of the Matadors here in map 1 and 2.
And that just goes to show the work they're putting into their map positioning early on. Again, instead of had play to group up, try to retake this bomb in a 2v4. It's just unfortunate because you don't know where any of these Hilltopper players are going to be playing, the way that they spread, the way they try to, look to trust each other and win their 1v1s. Again, being 5 for 5 on first bloods definitely makes things easier. They've constantly had a man advantage, even when CSUN looked to try to battle back. Sure, they were able to take a round there. For St. Edwards, simply cruising in this, Eons out to a 6-2 start, looking to try to get the team a closure here.
I saw it in Dylan's eyes. He wanted to sprint forward. He wanted the kill, and he'll finally get it. He was rewarded for just a tad bit of patience. Then he tried to reposition himself on the head glitch, but that allowed Dylan to get in. So now it's an advantage to the side of CSUNs. Do they realize this flank is coming through with all 3 players here from St. Edwards? Answer, no. Thresh was able to find Rue. 3 versus 3 they go. 45 seconds left.
And again, even if you anticipate 1 player on the flank, you're not going to anticipate 2. Torment could get the best timing here. He's playing patient.
Oh my God.
Almost letting his players run by him, finds 1, snaps to the second, and there you go. You slow play it, it works out for you. Thresh now, not behind enemy lines, gonna have to take this from the front. Fortunately, you have everyone for CSUN spun around. Unfortunately, you don't have Deddy, so you're making a lot of noise around flat. Polo gonna snap. Not gonna have the better shots, but you have about 10 seconds to make a play on this bomb, and CSUN should be walking with around here.
Yeah, I thought maybe for a moment if Thresh had the dead silence popped, I thought he spotted the player that was playing inside of bedroom, but is going to wait for the challenge here. It's a double that comes in from Torment and Dylan. Thresh is going to be backing his way all the way off. Was on a 2 spree. Maybe would have liked to see him stay alive there, but regardless of what happens, the Matadors get themselves a good round. You can thank Torment for just staying down, playing in from behind. I mean, he got COD timing to help him out a little bit right there, but again, the best way possible. Sometimes all you need is just a tad bit of luck.
Sure. I mean, again, you don't clear out the desk. And, that's a spot where a lot of players can play. I mean, again, it's the combination of both, right? But you talked about Dylan having patience for a moment and is rewarded with first blood. Torment plays with patience, trusts they aren't going to clear out that desk, and is able to shoot 2 players in the back. They get the first blood, they get the man advantage, they play well behind it. Still 2 rounds away from tying this up, so they have a lot of work to do in this search. Rue, Polo, you're hoping they can turn things around and maybe start to step up, and as far as trades or kills are concerned, St. Edward's trying to put themselves on map point here.
Rue forced to back off, stun check, won't find anything inside of the couches area for the moment. Polo's knocked off the board. Torment and Dylan really the only ones to get things going here in the search and destroy for the Matadors. Rudo trying to make that fate just a bit different for himself as he escapes with 1 HP back to the safe harbor. The rest of his teammates who were inside of the bedroom looking over the top. Vanity shots good from Torment. Won't be able to walk away with a kill. Bomb still yet to go down. It is pushed up on the A site. You can see Eons all the way across the map will get cut down by Rue. That makes things a lot better for the Matadors.
Still not putting this bomb down. Trying to see if they peek the site and get another free kill. As the line starts to march forward for the Matadors. Head on a swivel, trying to take one of these gunfights. You still have some time to work with, but if this collapse happens at the same time, you're going to wish you had bomb down. Feels like an extra man on the map. Reality going to snap, find the kill on Rue. Now going to wrap this bomb right over to the B side. This is a really heads-up play.
And they let him get away, too. I thought maybe Torment hops out of the window or somebody challenges from down below. Maybe Dylan makes that play, but regardless, now that they get the bomb free all the way over at the B site, it's a 1 versus 2 here. Reality has had himself a decent search and destroy, but as he gets it down, now forces a 1 versus 1 gunfight out in the back line. Has time to reload. Snaps him from the doorway. Dylan's just going to chase this one all the way out. Head glitch good for Reality, but Dylan makes quick work of it. That SMG has been on fire as of late. The tail end of the hard point, and now here in the search and destroy, he's gotten himself up to 7 to tie up his teammate Torment, but he gives CSUN another round, and they inch ever closer to the 4-round advantage that the side of St. Edward's at.
1 round from tying things up. 3 rounds from taking map 2. And again, the pacing, the split-second decision-making Dylan is operating with here. Working out for him, as you said, out to a really good start here in the search, 7-4. Trying to get the rest of his team to rally behind him. To bounce back in this one, just down 1 round from tying things up. And St. Edward's, they've just needed 2 rounds for a while. The CSUN is stunning them at every turn. With the first blood, got them the man advantage to take the round to get them 2 on the board. Now here, St. Edward's had the man advantage, and they still find a way to close out the round. It's quick, it's decisive towards this A site, but St. Edward's working towards mid once again.
I like this defensive hit. St. Edward's takes full control of the middle of the map, not going to allow CSUN to have any sort of advantage in that area where the power positions are concerned. Problem is, though, once you give up the middle of the map and allow them to take full A site, that's when the bomb goes down, and now you have a 35-second timer that you have to have. You have to walk away with a few kills. Rue has been great as of these last few rounds, has gotten himself another double kill in this round, and as Eon snaps with the SMG pushing his way forward, it's a 1 versus 3 that he's going to have to take care of, and the player inside a top bedroom will walk away with a kill. CSUN, they get on the A site for free. St. Edward's, I'd like to push in the middle of the map since CSUN was able to recognize they had a free site. It was a pretty much GG from the start of the round.
3 straight rounds. 2 of those 3, they've walked away with the first blood. For the Matadors, turning things around at the moment they needed to most. Now we are tied at 4 apiece. First to 2 will get you, whether it be a 2-0 advantage in the series or tie things up 1-1. Oh, so important here for both of these teams as they're looking to punch their ticket closer and closer towards a grand final, closer and closer towards a guaranteed land spot. St. Edward's offense running towards this A site. What can they find?
Eon's safe harbor has a little box to go ahead and keep him safe. Torment will be forced to back all the way off into the spawn side. Eons gets a little too aggressive. I don't know why Rude started. I see that's just the worst timing in the world, but I don't know why Rude decided he wanted to take that.
No, I feel you.
No, you know, it's just so annoying. Like, I'm actually upset.
Either way,
I stutter over my words.
Yeah, I mean, as far as worst timing is concerned, Eons, though he gets good timing on Rue, doesn't find anything for it, gets horrible timing on Torment. They were sitting side to side, and Torment, well, has a look to his right, finds a kill. CSUN walk away with another first blood. And I mean, like, the map's pretty. You could tell that these last few rounds, they've just had an air of confidence of, okay, you know, we're going to go toe-to-toe. We're going to try to challenge around the map where we can. Getting rewarded handsomely for it. They're actually the only island player playing towards this B site. Going to group up with his teammates now as bomb goes down. But Torment finds his second in the round. A 4v2, 30 seconds to work this bomb. And they're all going to collapse here.
They have no idea what reality is. Oh, but Rue will get good timing. Snaps around the corner. Now it's Thresh left alive in a 1 versus 3. And it's another round where the Matadors not only walk away with that first blood, but they just continue to put the pressure on St. Edward's. They get in behind the spawn sides. And I'll say this. The Hilltoppers aren't doing a good job of playing with one another. They're not playing around each other. They're putting themselves on islands constantly.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, that was working for you when you were taking all of the gunfights, but now that Rue has kind of turned things up the last few rounds, it's been 4 straight rounds for CSUN to now be at match point to tie the series up 1-1. But it's been individual gameplay, which maybe you could even talk about an overarching point, has kind of been St. Edward's downfall at times. They have 4 immensely talented players, but when they play like individuals, teams that can really string together that coordination can look to pick you apart, and that's exactly what we're seeing here in this map too. CSUN are just 1 round away from fully punishing them for it. St. Edward still have a chance, though, to try to bounce back and correct their wrongs.
Torment stun check, middle of the map. Will it find Eon's answer? No for now. Bedroom held down by St. Edwards. They've got 2 players inside of the bottom. Everybody else trying to make their way around the middle and upper portion of the mini-map. You can see Torment just trying to lock things down for where P1 would be. Dylan also making himself and his presence felt over by the satellite area of things. This is a bit different offensive hit that we see this time from CSUN. Last time, they were very aggressive to get the bomb down at A, realized that they were able to do just that. This time, though, they take a couple of seconds, take about 35 to get it down. Reality over the top will go ahead and stop the bomb from being planted. Somehow escapes with 13 HP. And now CSUN, they're stuck with only 45 left in the round to make a move.
And this is where St. Edward's is so potent because they hold their spots. They don't panic. They don't have to try to fly and do something. They're going to hold their lanes. Know that the Matadors have to get aggressive back towards this A site, and once again, you're just going to tee up, knock down a couple more players. They have no opportunity to get this bomb down without a kill. Torment finds one, and they're going to stick it at this moment. You trust that Rue can overlook you. The nades don't connect, so a 2v3. Make that now a 1v3. Rue last alive to send us to around 11. St. Edwards are 1 kill away.
Eons tries to stun out the back, doesn't realize where Rue's playing at just a moment. Oh, and once again, it's bad timing. Could pop up, snaps back over to the side, is able to find one, can't get the shots onto Thresh, and maybe you give yourself an opportunity to snap to Eons as well, who's made his presence known over inside of the back area of the spawn. But realistically speaking, St. Edwards do a wonderful job that round. And although they were up 4-1 in the search and destroy, it never felt like it was out of their reach, even when CSUN was making their presence known on the comeback. Now as we go to a round 11 here, mode that St. Edwards has kind of been iffy in all year long, needs to stand to the test of time. I don't want to say they have to take a 2-0 lead here, but it would be very, very smart of them to try and put their best effort forward, because if CSUN is able to get themselves going in this map and maybe is able to force all the way to map 4, things could get scary, and that's when you start talking about a game 5.
Absolutely. I mean, that's how they stayed alive against Texas State. The longer they extend the series, the more you've got to favor the Matadors. St. Edwards, again, absolutely want to try to take this. Interesting look. Your island player with bomb is leaning towards A site. You're hoping these 3 players can make enough noise to draw this entire team over to B. And honestly, I would just start shooting my gun. Free up that site. Guess that's why I'm not in the game. But they've done enough work. It's now a 3v3 over at Restaurant. 1v1 still, the island player's going down, and that's where bomb's going to be. So we'll still keep an eye on the bottom side of the map. But gunfights, couple gunfights go their way. Reality could swing this.
I was gonna say, if I'm Thresh, like, okay, you see that the double doors are open, maybe you commit to a fake here and then wrap back over to the opposite side of the map, but you don't realize anybody's there and your gun's just up. Polo's gonna be able to take advantage of you in every way possible, and now it's a 4 versus 3 that CSUN has the advantage of. Eon's able to get across back into the safe harbor over by the bar side of P4, but now as Vanity's on the catwalk, the bomb still has yet to go down. They've worked their way onto A, and this could be the timer that gives CSUN a little bit of a scare.
Bomb doesn't go down. And again, props to CSUN. They stand their ground. They hold true through the fake, and sure, you're able to spawn back in 3v3, but this bomb has to quickly work, and now with a couple kills, that might have just done it. A 3v2, bomb should be going down at this B site. They're going to get a good post plant setup, and Polo needs to find this kill. Isn't able to just yet. Bomb's going to go down, and they know where you're coming from.
He's getting all the shots that he needs, but he's just not able to find the last bullet to get the kill. He's only got a few more bullets left in this Vaznev, so he needs to be careful. You don't usually say that, but all the shots that he's gone ahead and popped off through the round might come back to bite him. 2 versus 3, 30 seconds left. St. Edwards did a wonderful job of baiting that back from A to B to B to A and everywhere in between. Dylan in the back lines, double doors opened up. Polo, shots not good. Eons is there. Dylan tries to snap, but Eons will find the final 2 kills in the round. I think that was the ace as well. St. Edwards, although they had a 4-1 lead and then it was a 5-4 for CSUN, they're able to bounce back, win the final 2 rounds in the S&D to give themselves a 2-0 advantage now on series point.
Mixing there for a second. CSUN had a good opening to the round, and unfortunately things just fell apart with those 2 rounds, or excuse me, those 2 kills in mid-map, and that is where St. Edwards were dominant for the entirety of the search and destroy. Even when rounds weren't going their way, they were still finding ways to control the mid-map. 2-0 series advantage. You said it was almost a must-win for St. Edwards to really feel like, okay, you know, you can kind of take a breath there and say, feeling much better about your odds of closing the series out, not letting CSUN come back. Now we go into control, where for the Matadors, again, it's your worst mode, and you have to try to mount this comeback on Hotel once again. Which, as far as moving on the map is concerned, I don't think the Matadors played it that well. I mean, again, they get some good timings, play with some patience. But St. Edward's absolutely dictated the flow to that map, and they got to all of the spots they wanted.
I mean, realistically, that final round, that round 11, easily could have went to CSUN. You just never expected the 3-man bait while bomb stays at A. Then everybody starts wrapping to B, and then it's like, oh, actually, no, we're going to wrap back to A, and then no, we're going to wrap back to B. You don't expect like a quadruple wrap from everybody within the round. But again, I mean, that also goes to kind of show the strengths of St. Edward's. Once you're able to send, Eons into the spawn side of CSUN, that completely disrupted everything, because when they thought that A hit was coming through, they didn't expect anybody to be in their spawn. And then when they saw the B hit was coming back in, they're like, oh, we just got to sprint back over to the site to try and beat them there. Their guns weren't up. Nobody was looking to shoot straight. And Edwards was able to walk away with it. So it's little timings, it's little mind games that these players try to pull against one another. For St. Edwards, you get the better of the timing there inside of the round. All the 200 IQ plays, and you walk away with the win and get 2-0.
Now going into map 3, we stay on Hotel. And the previous time they played in the up bracket, it was a 3-1 expo win for St. Edwards. You gotta like their odds now that they're up 2-0 with the potential to close this one out. To get this one in the 3-0 fashion, the Matadors, it's crazy because at the hard point, right, they still made a chance, rallied back, 80, 90 points to try to come back there for a moment. Here, they rip off 4 straight rounds to go up 5-4. Still can't close it out, and maybe the problem for them here going to be a touch of ice. They're going to have to find some in this control to kick off the reverse sweep to stay alive here, at least to fight for, again, a locked spot at LAN. Though they're already guaranteed to play for qualifiers, would like to get themselves even further along if they can. But for St. Edwards and the Hilltoppers, things starting to click late for them. When they need to clutch up, they're able to in both respawn and search and destroy. Another Hotel control to close this one out potentially here. I mean, Eons with another great performance too. He's just having himself a series at this point.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, again, it's the weight lifted off your shoulders. You're already going to be guaranteed to play next weekend to try and qualify for LAN. But again, you would still love to have the opportunity to try and get your shot at a qualification spot today. St. Clair, SIUE, search and destroy here on Mercado. We said this is kind of St. Clair's playground in a lot of ways at times. With how well they're able to play together. These big hits over at this A site on offense are just so good for them. And as they've already, taken map 1 inside of this best of 5 series, I won't spoil the scoreline here of the S&D if you're trying to watch it through the highlights here, but SIUE did have themselves a 4-2 lead. That's all I'll say.
Oh, man. Yeah, when Mindy's lighting up with a sniper like that.
You have a 1v3 here?
Surely he doesn't pull off the 1v3. I was about to say.
No way they let him ninja this. No shot they let him ninja this.
D-Day.
No, there's no way.
Nah.
Oh my god.
No. I'm checked up. I'm checked.
Bro, he said no at the end, bro.
Oh, I mean, Benji just having his way. Oh my gosh, 8-4. I mean, just the whole team. You can just, again, we said coming into the day for St. Clair. We knew we'd see a lot of them today. We've seen a lot of them this season. They were missing a confidence, they were missing an edge, and it feels like they have that here today. And again, that is a very dangerous St. Clair squad. We said even coming into losers bracket that they could have been, you could say they were reeling, you could say they were playing on the back foot. Yep. Michigan had a good chance to knock them down a peg and send them home without a qualification spot for LAN.
Yep.
And they're going on a tear here in the lower bracket to, I mean, again, it would not be shocking if they walked away with a guaranteed spot for LAN after today is done with how they're playing here. When this team is playing with confidence, it is a tough one to try to take down.
Yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow there, being up 4-2 the S&D, and then after the Ninja Diffuse comes through, it just seems like everything went out the window. The composure just was not there. So for St. Clair, a 2-0 lead. For St. Edwards, a 2-0 lead. It's Battle of the Saints here today, but regardless, each team trying to move on with a 3-0 sweep of their adversaries inside of their respective best of 5 series. We'll be back after a short break for St. Edwards and the Hilltoppers. We'll try to take a 3-0 control victory and a 3-0 sweep in the series, so don't go too far. I'll try playoffs back in a bit. Oh, as you guys can see, while we were doing the little break there, St. Clair rolling on Expo control yet again. Word decayed. I don't know why SIUE thought that after watching that Michigan game against St. Clair that was going to yield any different results. But I'll say this, if you're playing St. Clair going forward, maybe we should start to auto veto Expo. That might be a start for some teams, but regardless, it's looking like a St. Clair 3-0 inside of not only the control, but that series as well. But as we shift gears back to our main match here, St. Edwards has looked very good in these first two matches, but I think the main tone of this is that they also look beatable.
They really do. It hasn't been clean, as you were, I'm assuming, alluding to at this point of the series. It was a 6-5 where they were up 4-1, and they let CSUN rip off 4 straight rounds in the search. It was one of the most ridiculous 15 sprees we've seen out of Dylan to give them 80, 90 points to try to come back in the map 1 hard point. So it hasn't been clean. But when push comes to shove, St. Edwards have found a way to ice up. And I think that maybe is the most important point of this entire conversation, because that's what you need at this point of the playoffs is, of course, again, you're locked for LAN qualifiers. We'll keep saying it just to make sure you guys know that really only thing you're playing for, not only to dim it down, but you're playing for a locked LAN spot. Either way, you at least know you still get a chance at it next weekend. But again, you need ice at this stage of the game, and it's a 60-point hardpoint win for map 1. It's a 1-round win there in round 11 for them in the search and destroy. And a map win's a map win, no matter how clean it looks or not. But again, to the point of you saying them looking beatable, definitely, if I'm a team watching St. Edwards, knowing that, you can get them to collapse at some points. they do make, mistakes around the map that you can capitalize on if you're in a better position. CSUN tried their best, tried to rip off 4 straight rounds, 90 straight points. Wasn't enough at the end of the day. I think if they keep it any amount closer at the start of any of these maps, maybe it is a bit easier for them to try to pull off that upset within the map. But St. Edwards, I think they're rolling now. I think this hotel hardpoint is going to be one where they're playing with an edge of confidence. They were able to stop the comeback happening in the search, and they look to close this one out, but it definitely hasn't been clean for them.
No, and I'm glad that you brought up the fact of the other teams that could be playing St. Edwards, because again, this the series isn't over. CSUN still has a great chance to be able to win a control here and then go to the hard point in the S&D and maybe shut things off. But I do kind of worry for the St. Edwards team. Even next week. Just the fact that, yes, they're close. Yes, they have the ability to just create themselves a crazy amount of divide, like the almost 100-point lead in the first map, or the 4-2 or the 4-1 lead that they had in the S&D. There's just been a level of we get a big lead and then we just throw it away. Yes, they've been able to, at least walk away from these first 2 maps. But if that happens against an Oklahoma Christian or a New Mexico State, you start looking at that and you're like, dude, where'd you guys go? And then it's nowhere. It's the loser's bracket, and then eventually not a LAN qualification spot. I don't want to make it sound too grim.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be able to put yourselves in these advantageous positions early on in the game where you're up by 100, 120 points in a hard point, you better be able to close the damn door before you allow another team to get back. Because if you're playing, not to say that CSUN isn't at the caliber of an Oklahoma Christian, but if you're playing Oklahoma Christian and you let them come back from a 120-point deficit, you're not winning that series. Sorry.
Yeah. No, just not the case. And again, I would say for St. Edwards, and this isn't to, try to harp on them too much or knock them down a peg, but right, they feel like, based on how their season went, right, and the different elements we've talked about, right, they feel like they're at that bottom of those top cut teams where you're beating everyone you should, you're even pulling off some upsets, great, but you will get punished for letting 90 points come back in a hard point. Like you were saying, letting 4 rounds get ripped off in a search. It's one where you can create that divide, as you were saying. I can't say it much better myself. You can create that divide. You've got to be able to hang on to it and close them out in a cleaner fashion going forward, even if you can take the series against CSUN, where, like you said, they still have a realistic chance to pull off the reverse sweep. But we're going to jump on board here with St. Clair, SIUE at the tail moments, potentially, of this Expo control. And, I mean, for the Cougars, you're trying to get any kind of semblance of life going here, but for St. Clair, I know this is the first time seeing Expo on the CCL broadcast, well, not make it second. St. Clair definitely treating us to something special.
SIU were down 0-2. Were able to win their last defensive round, which has given them at least an advantage. Keep fighting a bit longer. You can see the top challenge now out from Priestley. Big Country will fall. D-Day looking to go ahead and try to find a cross shot onto Blaze. Now as everybody's trying to get back over in towards the point, Priestley slaying, St. Clair slaying, a double kill, popcorn nade there from Anchor, at least does the job. Clear out a few players of St. Clair, but the damage has already been done. They're off the A zone. Everybody trying to stack back over towards B now. Could get through this very quickly, but as Priestley's now able to find one onto Anchor, everybody from St. Clair as a 4-man unit getting back over towards this zone. 2 ticks of progress. The third one could come here in just a moment, and as everybody falls, that will be the B zone for SIUE.
Interesting play because St. Clair were hesitant on making the B push. A quick stack came in, and now they only need 1 tick with 2 minutes to work with. So as much as it was a struggle for the Cougars to finally get one, they were constantly on a point keeping that clock stopped. So they have plenty of time, plenty of lives to work this 1 tick over at A. St. Clair could put themselves in a bind with the potential to force around 5. We'll see what they can do here, but boy, they have quite the bit to hold on to.
And a lot to work with, but his anchor does get cut down. I thought maybe if he gets across into the zone, that's going to force St. Clair to at least put themselves a little bit more of a difficult situation to hold things on there. Bendy in from behind is able to find one. Second one up to challenge was Big Country, but he doesn't turn around in time. Has to deal with relays on the opposite end. And now as Bendy can pull out the SMG and start running forward yet again, SIUE spawns are going to be all the way deep, back and towards the top left portion of the minimap. Bendy doesn't realize where anybody is just yet. Somehow stays alive with 6 HP. Should fall just in a moment. And finally will. Big Country gets one that's going to force themselves up just a bit, but still 2 lives separating these teams. Now make it 3. A minute 15 left for SIUE on the push.
Slow-mo needs to find something to the back to try to soften off his teammates, push from the front, but 3 more kills favoring the Saints. Now what was a 19-18 life advantage favoring the Cougars swings, and it's 14-8. And yeah, that's just I think what you and Colin call it griftiff at this point, and it's something that St. Clair can do very well. And dropping a few lives, able to swing things in their favor with relative ease. We said they needed to hold on for 2 minutes. Still 45 seconds to go for them to close out the series. Close out this control. SIUE running out of opportunities for a push, but still can make something happen. You've got 1 full team push left, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is their last hit. If they want to get over to the site, and Relays will go ahead and use the cruise missile over top, get some information, maybe cut down one. But Slow-mo is able to find the first kill onto Priestley. Blaze now out on towards the zone. Slow-mo will find a second. Relays is going to be there, but everybody falls. And as the stack came in, SIUE again, you know, it was only 1 push that they had, but that's all it takes. Exactly. So good round there from them, and now it's 2-2.
Wise man 1 cents, never chalked. There you go. I mean, you quickly stack it. You just needed 1 tick. St. Clair take their foot off the gas for a moment. The streak doesn't find anything. Slow-mo finds a couple kills, and like you said, we're looking at around 5 now. St. Clair going to be battling in this one to try to take a much closer expo than, well, they had played in the first series, let alone what we had thought based on the first 2 rounds went for them here in this one. The Cougars continuing to battle. Slow-mo leading the way for the team. Priestley and Relays also for St. Clair, trying to get them the win here. It is going to be an offensive push out of the Saints. More takes of progress earned, if not kills, for the Cougars, as they're going to hold on defensively.
I'll say this, you know, the tale of the story was against Michigan for St. Clair. It was like, okay, where are the struggles starting and you know, formulating from for this team? How are they going to be able to remedy that? It was the slaying that we were talking about, but it was also a couple of other things around the map that they weren't necessarily doing all that well together. And I think that's where things can really start to change. But this is one of those moments that I need St. Clair to have a defining moment. They need to be able to shut the door here, close things out in a 3-0, because that'll at least show not only signs of confidence, but they're lacking a clutch gene as of recent, and it's something that is quite alarming for this team. So as long as they're able to close things out here, I'll be happy. But if you will let SIUE back into the series, that's when things start to turn sour yet again, and that's where St. Clair's been faltering throughout the entirety of the season.
Well, and what we know of SIUE and, you know, their run last year at LAN, or even what they've been able to do this year, all they need is foot in the door to be given an opportunity, and they will make the most of it. So again, an excellent point to be made about St. Clair needing to clutch up here, needing to go big. I mean, they have 30 seconds left and no ticks of progress to show for it. They're going to have to make a stand here. You called for a defining moment. It has to happen now.
Relays looking to push his way forward. Anchor challenge around the right side. Jump shot's not going to be there. He's able to find at least 1, 2, 2. We go back and forth. Split kill feed gives us pinstripe. And now as SIUE, once again, will stay on top of things. Blaze will be inside of the hill, trying to make himself a solo work inside of the B zone. First tick of progress going to be captured. Has a few players trying to make their way forward. He's just stalling the clock out, waiting for the reinforcements to get closer to the zone. As Anchor's the first one up to challenge. Slow-mo's there as well. Bendy should be able to get a trade, and Will with attack in hand. Close range shots going to be good. Second tick of progress looking to make his way forward. Stun gonna hit, but the nade won't. D-Day around the corner, looks for the shots on the Bendy. Big Country. Over on the A site, though, is Blaze. He's just trying to be the solo player here, and he might just make it work. They've got 10 lives remaining, now down to 9.
Oh, and he doesn't realize the player's coming to the back. Anchor's able to find the kill. 7 seconds and dwindling. Everyone grouped up here. The push has to come into A. A long slide comes in for Relays, catches Anchor off guard, and now they're going to be able to stack this point. You can't go down. You can't get killed on this one. Pinstripe kill feed. St. Clair still on the point. It's hotly contested, but Priestley will open up at least with a couple.
D-Day backline, able to find one, but the second one will be cut down. Contention still in from SIUE, just trying to give themselves as much time as possible to allow the reinforcements back across the map. They do not want to allow another minute to get stacked onto the clock here for St. Clair, because the kills continue to come in from the Saints. 5 seconds was all that was left, but an extra minute now. 60 seconds is good for St. Clair to get back over towards the opposite end. We said it, all it takes is one good hit. SIUE looking to go ahead and hold strong here.
Oh, this position out of slow-mo is so good. If they don't read it, this could blow the round up in their face. One last team push, gonna pop Deddy and look to get aggressive. And if he can get behind these players, this could build disaster for this play.
He's got the flank, but here comes St. Clair. They pushed up. Bendy's able to find one. Slow-mo has been found out, though. Priestley almost makes the turn on happen, but there's still 2 players alive on the zone. Big Country, 1. Bendy, last alive. Slow-mo, good. Shot still 38 seconds left. Only 3 lives remaining here from St. Clair. SIUE looking to make their way around a flank and continue to stay up here on top of the stage. Relays has dropped his way down. Looking on the stage for a few of these players on SIUE. Relays doesn't see anybody in the back line. Now up to him on a 1 versus 7. He's able to find shots on the Big Country. D-Day around the corner, jumps through. He snaps onto him, but SIUE down from 0-2 in the control. Win it in the 3-2. Round 5 goes their way, and they stay alive in this best of 5.
A foot in the door is all they need. What can they do with this opportunity now? St. Clair, yes, they lack the clutch gene. And they continue to show why that's been a pain point for him here. And what could have been a confident 3-0 for him going into what is losers finals, they end up keeping the series extended, keeping it alive. I mean, Relays goes nearly 40 kills. Priestley as well for the loss. I mean, it's just a breakdown. It's just the kills they let go their way in the early part of the round. It ended up coming to bite them as they had the man disadvantage, even though they got the time on the board. So we'll go ahead and give the round 1 highlights, at least for this map 3 that we were waiting on. Our main matchup, St. Edwards and CSUN. But man, I mean, interesting to keep a circle on that matchup with St. Clair and SIUE to see how that ends up evolving.
Also, we'll take a look here. Eon's 10-1, now making 11-0 to start things out here in the control. And that's where we'll end. So I believe we're going to be hopping into round 2 here, where he's still not getting killed yet. Dylan, shots good. Not going to be able to find the kill, but why are you challenging him? Stop it! Stop!
Yeah, okay, 18-4.
Okay.
Whew,
he slowed down a little bit, but he's...
The damage has been done, I think, is the greater point of that. I think he's done a little bit of work behind that. So, yeah. They're now CSUN offensively trying to work their way towards this B site, but it's 15-4 in live, so I mean, who cares? I guess is the point I'm trying to make also, and in the same breath. Again, I'll completely eat my word if they pull this off, but I'm just going to say it's not happening. Hilltoppers 13-9, 19-5. I mean, jeez, when this team gets rolling, I'm not shocked, right? It's just the inconsistency of their play that's been alarming at times. But when they're playing good, I mean, again, toe-to-toe, could compete with the best in the league.
I mean, when the things are going good, the things are going great, right? So
sure.
Let the good times roll. 2-0 up in the control here. CSUN 1 round away from being eliminated from the first weekend of playoff contention in the LAN qualifier. I mean, regardless across the board, St. Edwards, they are a scary team when they get out to a lead, but we've seen them get out to leads before. This is where they need to shut the door, not allow the Matadors to come back. I know you can do it, Hilltoppers. Eons is 20-5. If you go from a 20-5 and a 14-10 start from Vanity, and you blow a 2-round lead here, Papa's going to be upset.
Yeah, you don't want to upset Papa.
Good snap from Eons. Polo falls. Backline now being pushed into. Drury and the Satellite in full control of the Hilltoppers for now. Just another clean break. They've done it every single round. 3 lives already taken off the board. They get 1 taken off theirs, but damage has been done. And once again, they're on the A zone. They've got the full control of the restaurant. Hey, Polo. Eons is going to say, Mark, I'm going to find you.
Ooh, I got that kill on Polo right before Torment got it. Almost bad timing there. Just 1 tick of progress today. As again, they put their emphasis on controlling mid-map, not letting these CSUN players navigate across it with ease. Trusting that they can win these gunfights and look to try to push the issue. Now, 2nd tick of progress coming in live, getting closer and closer to even. CSUN might be giving this 1 more look, at least trying to find exit kills. Torment will open up with 1. Is he going to be ready for the snap on the second? Answer going to be no. Drew, what can you do? Out to 12-10 in this one. Snaps for another. That's going to be A-site control. St. Edwards back to the starting block, but you've got someone over at B. You end up losing that gunfight as well. So with 55 seconds left, you would have thought you had the A-site captured by then. You still got some work to do.
And they've kept the lives manageable, right? You know, the differential is still there. St. Edwards technically has just a slight advantage, but now that's all gone out the window. 2020 we go. We're to Austin Visions, Neil. As Eons is able to find 2 kills there. Once again, St. Edwards regains control. This should be the A zone. Last stick of progress needed. Extra 60 going to be added to the clock. Got about 90 to work with here if you are St. Edwards. CSUN, all they can hope for is to hold things down over on B. You do not want to allow Thresh to be able to walk away with an opening kill here, as everybody else is also coming through on the flank.
2 on the flank, 1 to the front. Your emphasis is going to be on bed. If you're CSUN, Thresh going to try to find good timing and does. Now trying to make this push work, trying to keep the eyes off his players in the back. And as Polo finds that kill, again, you might think the coast is clear, but you can tell with how they're playing. Someone else has slipped the net. You know, you haven't seen him in the kill feed in a while. Polo's going to try to be ready for the gunfight, but Vanity going to continue wreaking havoc in your base. And everyone working through mid-map here. This should be a good collapse towards the B side if they can find another kill or 2.
I mean, that's already 2 kills, and what that does is that forces the attention of CSUN back over towards the point because they can't worry about Vanity when they've got everybody else from St. Edwards starting to make their way forward. Long-range shots from Mr. Vanity. It's good for 1, snaps to the second. Polo put down in the dust. How you like them jeans? They're getting all dusty and dirty. Torment gets himself a double. He looks back over to Eons, who's making his way forward. He'll get cut down. Still players here from CSUN alive on the point. 12 to 11, 30 to 8 left in the round.
And the fact that Vanity goes on that tear and the lives are still even, just a testament to how well CSUN is playing. Near motion sickness. I'm glad we switched off that POV. Polo was given check in the work, and now his players are to the back once again. Vanity, you surely can't let him to the back lines once again. Rue knows he's here, going to try to take the challenge, but they're turtled up for this play. That's going to give the advantage to St. Edwards as they're looking to close the distance and try to collapse on this B site for what is the last time.
Spots out Vanity, good shots there, keeps the pre-fire going, 2 HP, still survives, and his Torment finds another kill there. On to Reality, here comes St. Edwards to try and push over towards the point. It's Eons who's gotten 2, he tried to just sprint him down and go for the jugular with the knife, isn't able to find it, but the clock is stopped out. 4.5 seconds left, Polo weakened up, 3 players here from CSUN. It's a dogfight here on the point, but as Reality tosses the Semtex in, Thresh finds Dylan, and all the kills from St. Edwards continue to flood the feed. Torment stops it from middle map, but the bleeding's still going. 1.5 seconds left on the point, 5 lives to 4. St. Edwards in control of it. Still there on the point is going to be Vanity. 4 versus 3 now as CSUN is trying to re-attack. Last stick of progress needed. 2 players not stacked on the zone, but Reality's trying to hold over his teammate. Another Semtex hits Dylan. Foreman on the back line's able to find 1. Thresh falls. Reality's still here. He's going to hop across into the zone. There's a contestant on the point. Still 1 here. 1 versus 1. Vanity versus Rue. An AR versus an SMG. And as he gets the contestant notification on the point, Rue wins it and keeps CSUN alive.
Whew. Still weak for a moment, trying to chow out around the corner, but Rue was ready for the gunfight. And all that for CSUN just to try to stay alive in control. But they do nonetheless. Now at least going to see around 4, see what else they can do to garner some more momentum in their way. And I mean, the same way we're talking, I feel like we're really having parallel storylines for St. Edwards and St. Clair, where lack some ice at times. When they look good, they look great. But when you can't close the door on teams like this in a dominant fashion, you kind of start to wonder, again, the more you show you can bleed, the more confidence teams will get against you. Sure, they still have an ability to close this control 3-1, and that would be great. But CSUN, they've been able to come back at really every map and mode in this series thus far. You don't want to give them another opportunity here, as now players are starting to get warmed up. But again, still 2 rounds needed for the Matadors to try to even take this control.
Eons has crept his way into the kitchen. That's a beautiful snap back to Polo. 2 off the board. 4 lives drained from the Matadors already. Eons will be sitting here and towards the kitchen. He almost turned around at the perfect timing, but good timing there from Rue is going to allow him to walk away with the kill. Dylan in the middle of the map has to deal with Vanity. And once again, St. Edwards early on in the round, especially on defense this time through, have themselves a 5-life advantage.
Team kill comes in. St. Edwards look to find a couple more behind it, trying to put pressure back on this A site the same way the Matadors did the last round. Not giving it up and gonna find the kills to at least soften this push for now. 45 seconds and dwindling. I think the more important point is that they're out to a 7-life advantage in this one, only losing 4 on the round. And Thresh having his way here in restaurant.
Just turning the slaying up to a 10. Eons is there for a trade. Any kills that come in the way of the Matadors are immediately met with the force of the Hilltoppers that they have not been able to reconcile with here on offense. Another 2 kills for St. Edwards. Make it a 3rd. Dylan, why not just give your life away already? Through the doorway, Reality tries to make it. Vaznev shots up close will be good for Dylan, but it's a 12 life at disadvantage. 17 seconds left in the round. Eons finds another kill, and the Matadors are just trying to reel back over towards the site. They're not sure what they want to do. 2 players up through the middle of the map. Kills are going to be good for 1. Eons has put himself in a nice position on 5 in a row, looking for number 6, Torment. There, shots good for a second. Still 2 players to try and keep the round alive, but only 1.8 seconds and 8 lives.
Yep. Yeah, that should be all that needs to be written, even if they can capture this A site. St. Edwards have tripled up your life count. Hey, I'd love to be proven wrong. I would love to see a 20v7 control.
41 kills in the control here from Eons. That's just 4 rounds, by the way. If this thing would have went on to a 5th round, he probably would have broken the 50 kill barrier. Unfortunately, there's just not enough lives left in this round for him to be able to do just that. Reality falls. Dylan good for 1, but as Eons continues to keep his gun hot. CSUN have 3 lives remaining. No respawns back to the opposite end. Dylan makes his way forward. Vaznev in hand. The final chance that they have to keep themselves alive here in the control. They've already gotten 2 kills to go along with it. Polo's there in the back line. Might be able to work something here. 3 players stacking on the point. Polo looking to the middle of the map. Second tick of progress. Almost there. Nobody from St. Edwards is trying to get over towards the node. Do they want to beat Eons? 50? Polo's still here. 2 players stack the point. Polo by himself. Looks over towards the right. Looks back left. Eons cleans things up, and the Hilltoppers will take the 3rd map here inside of this best of 5 series. A hotel control that shuts CSUN out of a qualification spot for LAN. They'll have another opportunity next weekend, but for now, the Hilltoppers will find themselves another series win.
I think you said what we were all thinking there for a moment. That hesitation. The conversation might have been, did we let this go another round?
Let me get 50, bro. Come on.
I mean, I think it was definitely thought about for a half second, but either way, a good one for him to take. We're going to jump on board here. Map 4, Mercado Hardpoint, a tied game basically. As we're over at P6, the Cougars trying to force a game 5. St. Clair trying to close out a series where they should have shut out a 2-0 control lead. And the series could go either way at this point.
I mean, that's how you break a hill right there. You force the other team with the will of your own power to kill themselves twice with a bit of utility, and then you break directly in for the scrap time. So we'll see the rotation over towards the next hard point here. St. Clair are going to be there. All 4 players from SIUE have made their way through the backline. D-Day will be able to find relays with a explosion of a car. Straight on to slow-mo through the back line. Bendy, the last one here. D-Day has done a great job of being able to push his team forward. Looks for the headless there on the Blaze, will wisely back off. Stun check is going to find 2 in the corner, but for SIUE, they need to be wary of their back line, and D-Day will do all the busy, dirty work and get everybody cleaned up out. St. Clair going to be forced to get to the front yet again.
Good and bad for St. Clair at this point. You know, you are marginally losing. That's the bad. The good is that you are getting rather outslayed to an extent, maybe a bit even with relays at 20 and 10, but I mean, previously having a slower respawn than what we've seen him have the entire day. Something that, again, if he turns around, well, surely the scoreline will run up behind it, and I thought for a second 3 were going to line up there, but they get the early break into P7. Going to lock down the last bit of time as well, so they should have about a 30-point lead going into the next set of rotations. The Cougars, they've kept it close the whole time. The whole series, but they need this one to be able to force a game 5. St. Clair trying to shut him out here, and as we start off a second set of rotations, it'll be about a 25-point lead for St. Clair.
Oh, dude, I thought Slow-Mo was just going to give that up all the way. I was going to say not when Bendy's about to come through on the flank. You got to at least give yourselves an opportunity for a challenge, but Bendy makes quick work of Slow-Mo off screen. D-Day going to be there as well, and now it's 2 players in the kill feed go the way of SIUE. They should get the middle of the map cleared out for a moment's time, but through the tunnel, it's going to be Relay's the first one up for a challenge. AR gunfight going to be going his way. D-Day the second one there, so it's a double kill that goes the way of Relays. Back from the spawn side is good, but St. Clair have the advantage in the middle of the map. They have the bulk of the players looking for the spawn side. They need to look for Big Country, though, because they have no idea where he's at.
Big Country gets a kill through back alley. Nice, he previously trying to pick this up. Gonna get the better timing, but not the better aim assist to the rails. Big Country will get another 70 spawns for P2 as we look ahead towards it. 10 seconds up for grabs. St. Clair will be close to that 200-point mark as they'll have to march across the map to try to get an early break. But for the Cougars, full 60 here would be beautiful for you. It would not only tie the game, but maybe give you a marginal lead going into P3, but you need it at this point. You don't want St. Clair to get any closer to the 200, let alone 250-point mark. Slow-Mo going to try to get aggressive through P4, at least to back some of these players down. Big Country lines up another. And the Cougars, they're rolling here early on P2.
Slow-mo, backside corner, relays, gonna get some awful timing there, was looking directly in front of him, didn't realize that there was a sneaky little boy over towards his left side. And Slow-mo starts to make his way in. He's got his teammates who are holding down the bottom of Cantina right now. Anchor's got a whole slaughter of St. Clair players to take care of Slow-mo. The door pops open. He just is gifted 2 kills. Isn't able to walk away with a cruise missile. Was on 5 in a row, but it is good enough to allow SIUE to continue to hold down the bottom of Cantina, have control in their favor. And as Bendy cut down on a trade, 2 kills that go each way. St. Clair trying to break on in, but for the last 15 seconds, SIUE should get the scrap time to go fully in their control. And guess what? They'll take a lead here and be the first team to catch over 200 points.
And they're in position to get an early break on P3 as well. It's going to be a 3v3 for time. As you can see, Benji playing late, trying to get this player rotating out of P2, and we'll see what that timing ends up working out like. But the first kill at least goes the way of the Cougars now as Big Country tries to hop up, trying to work through the top side. Another kill going their way.
Slow-mo drops down. Big Country there with the AR was able to help supplement what Slow-mo was doing over the top. He's able to hop out the backside window. Big Country once again helping out his SMG, do all the slaying work that he needs to. And with a 10-point lead now continuing to grow here, SIUE can win this hard point off of the hill. 3 seconds of contestation time will be needed from St. Clair, but a break now on the loom here as the Saints look to march their way forward. Slow-mo instead of the hard point. Shots from the back won't be there. It's everybody starting to make their way around the hill, but nobody can get inside of the hard point just yet. Double challenge around. In for one is Priestley, but he's cut down immediately after the fact, and sure, Relays can find a trade in the middle of the map, but they can still win off of this hard point. Needs to be a contestation. Relays there, and look who's on the flank. It's D-Day. The off spawns come through. Blaze starting to make his way forward. Needs to find Anchor for the first kill. Won't be able to do it. They run directly into the slaughterhouse. Will they get the final tick that they need? Will there be enough? And it is! SIUE, after being down 0-2 in the control, win the hard point, and now we go to game 5. Cash, what did we say?
Should have shut the door when you had the chance.
You should.
It is a CLO, I believe, for map 5. But no, hold on. It's a forward and backward series. What was the first map in this one? Fortress? Yes. I think it's Fortress. I think it was the same forward and backwards. But look at the slow slaying. I mean, Priestley 16 and 25. Slower than what we've seen this entire time. And right now, St. Clair does need everyone to slay. And for SIUE, I mean, Slow-mo went on a tear. I mean, it's not like he went double positive or something crazy, but found impact. Every kill he found there the last 2.5 hills, super impactful. St. Clair had a near 40-point lead going into P2. They gave up a full 60. They gave up 2 full 60s. I mean, it was what one? It was 140 to like 180. And I mean, the 90-point swing, or excuse me, 90-point swing that the Cougars took at the tail end of things to close it out, went 90 for 30 with St. Clair to close that one out. I started with Big Country finding big kills alley, Slow-mo really aggressive through P4, forced St. Clair to have to slow down and not get into P2. It's just, again, I mean, this SIU team, you can never, ever count them out of a series at any point. It just, again, it's giving flashbacks to last year even, but you can't count these guys out.
Well, a rematch from LAN, I'm sure there's a lot of high-intensity emotions on the line. Both of these teams, but I mean, in the back line, I thought Relays might have been able to find 4, but I mean, it was on that final hill in the set of rotations where, you know, you saw Slow-mo go big. He had a huge moment there where he was able to close a couple of players off of it, and then, you know, right here was a huge one. He was able to find one, and then everybody else just lined up directly for him. Nobody expected the door to be popped open, and, well, Slow-mo, he probably thought he was dead in that moment, but again, it was just Big Country and him being able to find themselves in the bottom of the warehouse that allowed Slow-mo to get out and start slaying, and then that final tick came through, and SIUE forced a game 5, and now I really don't know what to think, because what should have been a 3-0 for St. Clair after they went up 2-0 in the control after a 2-0 series lead, well, hey, now you're looking down the barrel of a loaded gun, and guess who's got their finger on the trigger? It's the Cougars.
It's just, I mean, you have 14 and 20, 16 and 25 out of Priestley and Blaze, respectively. So, yeah, very much outslayed. In that hard point, you go back to a Fortress S&D. It's really going to be interesting because, yeah, you have the last 2 maps with momentum. You pulled off a reverse sweep in the control to kick off a reverse sweep that is very much, you know, on the cards for you to take. St. Clair find themselves reeling in a series once again. Can SIUE put them down, punish them for letting them back into the series like we had said specifically not to for the side of St. Clair? So we'll see. We'll end up seeing how that series pans out. But getting closer and closer to our losers finals matchup. One map separates us from that moment. Who moves on? Who bows out? Either way, both teams have punched their ticket, at least for the LAN qualifiers. Both of them also trying to punch their way forward for a guaranteed spot.
Reverse sweep on the cards here for the Cougars. St. Clair has been the top of their class all year long. A few faltering moments, though. They found themselves down in the lower bracket. Each of these teams has already qualified for next weekend if they're not able to take the grand final of their respective region. See the highlights here from the St. Edwards CSUN game that we didn't get to see from beforehand. And, well, there really wasn't much to go off of here. It was 4 rounds, pretty much cut and dry all the way through. The only thing that you may have missed is Eon's dropping 44, but he was getting kills in every single round. He started this game off like 14-0 or something like that. Yeah, Big Daddy was kind of slaying no job.
Yep. Definitely making CSUN his sons, no pun intended. And St. Edwards take that one in 4 rounds, like you said. Close out that series in a good fashion. One that'll give them confidence going into their losers finals matchup. I mean, what a day God it's been so far. I mean, thinking of the 44 bomb he dropped, thinking of the comeback we see, the potential reverse sweep on the loom. It's College COD playoff time, baby.
College COD playoffs are a time of the year where everybody is just able to come together and have a good time, whether it's creating brackets or being able to see a top-seeded team or a team that everybody thought had high aspirations going into the playoffs fall in precarious manner. Because we've gotten to the point where we have eliminated almost 20 teams or even more at this point. In each region, I must say, too, it definitely has gotten a lot of people in the conversation of what the College COD LAN is going to have in store for us. If it's anything like last year, it is going to provide us some high-octane, fun Call of Duty moments. That I think a lot of people are going to once again enjoy quite a bit. I know I'll be there. That'll be fun. I might not be casting, but I'm going to be there because just being able to watch these guys play on LAN, hang out with everybody in the biggest moment of the year too. It's just a fun time. So get on out, please come on out and say hi, have some fun. Join us for what will be a fun time at the College COD LAN. But across the board though. This was the moment too. We thought maybe oh, CSUN, you might get a pity round here. I think Eons wants to go for 50.
I'd have been down. 50 bomb under control.
Yeah.
I know it was 44 just in 4 rounds. Again, if that went to round 5, surely he eclipses 50. So
100%.
44 kills with 1,000 damage.
That's
wow.
11 around.
That's a great stat pulling.
That's nuts.
It's no, exactly. It's crazy the efficiency that these St. Edwards players play with. It's good and bad. The individual talent, their ceiling, non-existent. But it also gets to a point where maybe they can start to hurt themselves because they play a bit too individualistic. Either way, they get to go to the losers finals, try to get to a grand finals, and lock their ticket in for guaranteed spot on LAN. Great series out of them for them to take. Eon's Thresh, having some good performances, and of course in the supplemental roles, Reality, Vanity, doing their thing as well. That's a good-looking Hilltopper team going into the next matchup for sure.
3-0 series. You can see across the board, those first 2 maps were seethingly close, I think I'll say. The Search and Destroy actually was genuinely close. But that was after the Hilltoppers had a 4-1 lead, and they blew it. They were down 5-4 at a certain point, too, as it was the Matadors who were able to win, almost 5 straight rounds. But they did come back and win. They pulled, the double flank all the way at the end, and then we're able to finally close things out in round 11. But again, a pretty cut and dry series. St. Edwards, when they're firing on all cylinders, we know how good of a team they can be, but it's going to be difficult for them going forward because they're going to have quite the challenge up in front of them. They're going to have to go against New Mexico State and then Oklahoma Christian if they want to be able to qualify for LAN today. But besides that, we'll hop back into St. Clair, SIUE. Both of these teams also trying to keep their playoff series, the playoff runs alive. Yep.
So picking up where that left us off with unlucky open break for the Cougars.
That checked me.
Yeah. No, I'm still scrambling for words here, but you still have site control at least. St. Clair gonna try to work through the back. Blaze will find a kill. Now gonna open up a site to the back and player going down bomb. Thank gosh. Whew, it's over. Okay, we can reset. We're gonna count next round as our first one.
I mean, that's a typical name. At the beginning of the round there, out of SIUE. Again, it was kind of the same thing we saw on the Mercado. It was like, how did St. Clair break into Cantina Hill? Oh, well, just team nade twice. We'll be good. Give them 4v2 on the point and allow them to get in. SIU still went on to win that round, or excuse me, that hard point, by the way. But Here in the search and destroy, that look does not befit them in the same way. Good kills there out of St. Clair, gives themselves a 1-0 lead here in the search and destroy. SIUE looking to go ahead and get aggressive here on defense at this A site. Bomb worked its way into Art. Nobody wanting to take an aggressive gunfight here yet with St. Clair. But as Slow-Mo's going to wait for the first challenge out and around the corner. Bendy will be the first one up to challenge on the chopping block is good for 1. But Priestley's good trade there. Gets the 3 versus 3. Tied up as we go.
Slow-Mo now with 2 first bloods through the opening couple rounds. Take them for what you will at least, but 3v3. Saint's going to work back towards this A side. It's looking like the call will be Dead Silence invested Anchor. Lying in wait at Art double doors. Relay's going to have to stand down for this one. I see the shuffle come back in for the Cougars, but they're still trying to watch this cross, see if the bomb gets over, and then to look to make their retake about it.
Relays will hop over towards the left. Anchor, gunfight, gonna win it with the AR in hand. D-Day will be the second one to fall, though, in that pair of gunfights. Blaze has eyes on the big country. He's just waiting until he gets a little aggressive either towards the left or the right side of the pillar. St. Clair will win their gunfights around the map and once again have themselves another 2-0 lead in a search and destroy. Buffer room to work with over the opposition.
If I'm St. Clair, maybe I don't want buffer at this point. Honestly, I might not want any room. I might just start throwing rounds to keep it close. But again, they have it nonetheless. 2 rounds. Here's what we'll start to see. Again, we talk about that 3-round snowball effect if St. Clair looks to take this one. This is where SIUE, you're back on the offensive attempt. What adjustments do you make? I think we all know kind of the first one that you would. But apart from that, what can you do around this site to give you some more success? Slow-Mo leading the charge with the nades. Now everyone else coming in tow. St. Clair, it's just a stack that pushed through mid. They're trying to watch any kind of cross, and as they see this bomb get across towards A, they look to make their push, but Blaze playing outside this double art window, trying to see if someone flies out.
Nade, backline, not going to be hitting anything except the trophy system. Unfortunate there from Relays, because that's going to allow the bomb to go down. So good utility where the trophy system is concerned early on in the round there for SIUE as they get onto that A site. Bendy starting to make his way forward. Big Country's there for 1. Can't snap onto the second. That's a big trade there as a double hit comes in from St. Clair. Anchor, D-Day, all in the back line. Everybody from SIUE looking for the push that's coming in through on the flank. Priestley, the first one up to challenge onto Anchor. Unfortunately falls into the hands of the main AR, but as Blaze there is for a trade. 2 versus 2. 20 seconds left in the round. That should just about seal it there as D-Day finds the kill on the Blaze.
Yeah, Relays just with no time to make a play, not only on these kills, but for the bomb. At least he'll chow out, see if he can find something, but Slow-Mo will clean it up, close it out. And the Cougars get a good response to bounce back, keep it within 1 round striking distance as they find success on their second offensive attempt.
Last kill from Slow-Mo one more time. Closes out the round for the side of the Cougars. Will give themselves another opportunity here. On the flip side of the bomb, make some quick work. Some pesky offensive pushers from the Saints.
For St. Clair, working towards this A site. But you already have Anchor up and aggressive. And D-Day overlooking them at least here. But it's Slow-Mo through the back line, able to find 2 quick ones, and that's going to be brutal for St. Clair to deal with.
Now he can look towards another one as well. He's on 2 in a row, gets all the way in. I thought he was going to be able to bust open those doors, and I think he did as well. I don't think he wanted to challenge that gunfight onto Relays. But he's already done some serious and significant damage to St. Clair. 2 kills already come in for SIUE. Blaze working the back line here with Relays. They're going to have to go ahead and retrieve this bomb, and they will. Anchor laying down here on the site. Going to get some information that these players are starting to make their way forward. SMG gunfight there. Now switches to the AR. Quick work of Anchor is good, but that nade just is so well placed. Now Blaze is forced to back into a different opportunity on the map. Different angle to work with here, and the timing is good. He's able to find one. He steps to the Vaznev, and all of a sudden, what seemed like an SIUE round turns to the St. Clair Saints.
I just think that timing was perfect out of Blaze. I mean, I was, not only going to say I don't hate the wrap towards B, but I just catches both players off guard. D-Day is slow to pick up the mid-cross. Able to weapon swap and get the kill on Big Country up close and personal. So it's just great timing, great heads-up play out of Blaze. And like you said, a round that could have gone the Cougars' way. Well, the Saints are rewarded.
Back to the offense here from SIUE. This is where they won their only round inside of the search so far. Many might say that that last round probably should have been an SIUE round win, but the dismay of many SIUE fans all across the nation. Unfortunately, these pesky Canadians just won't go away. Blaze down below. Big Country with the AR in hand, looking up over the top. Relays good shots, won't be able to find anything just yet. That's a beautiful challenge all the way across from Slow-Mo. Maybe a bit aggressive as he tried to push towards Priestley, but in a 3 versus 3, the bomb has gone down. The offensive hit has worked out so far for the side of SIUE.
35 seconds into dwindling, you're trying to hit this hop up and peekaboo. Big Country able to take the head off of Blaze. He loves playing around this art positioning, whether it be outside double windows or getting in the mix. Both players for St. Clair trying to push to the back, and I think Big Country is at least privy to this. Anchor going to try to look over the top, but once again, getting that bomb down makes the clock work so effectively against St. Clair that even if they can find these kills, they just are out of time.
Hey, Big Country, he just started to play the bait there. Allowed Anchor to be able to try and find one on the back line, but it was D-Day who was able to supplement his teammate in the back lines to cut down 2 of those St. Clair players. So 2 rounds now, both offenses here for SIUE. Them at least 1 step closer to being able to best up from St. Clair, but I'll say this, Cash, you know, the round previous for St. Clair that they were able to win, a bit sloppy. The defensive side for the Cougars can maybe kind of capitalize on a few more opportunities that were afforded to them. We could be looking at a very different scoreline, but at least for right now, this is a great opportunity for them to get a 3-3 standstill.
Definitely so. Slow-Mo, Blaze leading their teams respectively, and it's about even across the board as far as everything else is concerned. But I mean, if I'm SIUE, you've got to know the Blaze just loves this top art spot. You got to be ready and win some of these gunfights. Slow-Mo is the one for the challenge and takes it and wins it. Bendy at least quick on a trade, so a 3v3, but you can see they're giving a lot more attention towards this cross as Big Country's able to find Priestley around P1, gets eyes on another player now hopping from roof to truck. A 2v2, Bendy makes it another one to give them a man advantage. They know D-Day's already in the back line though, as they might decide to make this bomb work B.
Got himself behind 2. Great timing on to Bendy, but Bendy walks away and escapes with his life. Re-challenges out the door. Dude, what are you doing? Your teammate's planting the bomb. That's all you needed to do was just run away.
Yeah.
But instead, now he hops off it, looks for the shots on his feet. D-Day won't be able to find him just yet. Relays hops off the bomb again. They're playing cat and mouse right now where Relays is Tom, and, well, Jerry's not able to find anything yet.
It's a weird play out of D-Day. I know he's maybe thinking he'll wrap back out of the site. I think he got a close distance. Don't give him a chance, to reposition. Now we're going to zoom things out. Or maybe in, more so, at this mini-map. See where these players like to play. I mean, like dancing. Yeah, literally just mirroring each other's movements. One's creeping in, the other's creeping out. Clock working against D-Day as he's got to find this pick. What kind of time can he get?
Read.
Oh my gosh.
Beautiful.
We're tied up at 3.
Beautiful read there. D-Day doesn't spot him over on the side, and he's like, well, if he's not going to be up top anywhere, he's got to be behind me, right? And he is. It's exactly where he is. Reads the flank that was coming all the way through. They danced in tandem. It's only right that after a long round, the cat finally gets his mouse. Things get tied up 3-3. I will say, though, Slow-Mo's play at the beginning of that round really was the difference maker, all things considered, especially when he, you know, because he didn't hop into the window right away. He played right on the ledge there, waited for anybody to get aggressive, and, well, once he heard the noise cue that Blaze was getting over towards the opposite side, he was like, all right, my time to go. I'm just going to creep into the window, hey, buddy, and put him to sleep.
No, Slow-Mo is definitely one of the most intelligent subs in the league. I mean, of course, doesn't have, you know, the craziest of slang stat lines or anything like that, but makes good decisions on the map. We'll blip out the team need. But apart from that, has played a really smart search and destroy here in Game 5 when his team needs him to most. And now St. Clair walk away with another first blood. It's a man disadvantage. St. Clair playing really passive defense once again.
Sucks you're like gassing him up for being like pretty smart. He just took his SMG and he just tried to sprint through the double doors when like previously he's been playing there every single time on defense. Like, yeah,
that's the way this works. That's all.
Like the adjustment, but Big Country though has gotten himself over to P1, makes quick work of Priestley. That gives things to 3 versus 3, and that makes St. Clair's head back over towards the safe site just that much more difficult because SIUE have been so good at being able to hold down this back line. They give themselves great positioning on those head glitches. But as Relays is able to find Big Country, Anchor in the back line is still alive and trying to play his life. Shots are going to be good out from D-Day on the opposite side of the map as Bendy will fall to 1 versus 2 here from Relays. Shots in his back, 8 HP, still survives, but not to live another day. He'll fall and SIUE will finally break the curse and win 2 straight rounds.
And you know that St. Clair is just, I mean, I'm just fuming. Anchor will not leave that back spot. And Relays was doing everything he could to get him out of it. It just was not working. He and D-Day playing this back line. Yet to be taken down. Like you said, they won 2 straight rounds and, well, put themselves in a good position here to take this Game 5, right? I mean, they're just 2 rounds away. They have a couple round momentum going their way. St. Clair, we've been calling for ice since round 5 of the Expo. And I mean, hey, we're getting closer to that time where you either have it or you don't in this series. The Cougars making their stand. Relays will get a first blood. That should open up this A side a bit more. You can already see Big Country playing deep towards B. Just having to respect the fact that the bomb could go here.
If there was anything that St. Clair needed just to start with the bare bones, it was a first blood in a round. In a minute since they'd had one of those. Blaze will just be looking towards the double doors. Situation where everybody on St. Clair is pretty much playing, you know, tight knit across the board. 3 at 5, 1 at 6. Nobody's having really an off game. Nobody's having a pop-off game, but they're still down 3-4. Bomb is down, 38 seconds left. Bendy, second kill in the round. Switches to the sniper. I thought maybe he was going to take D-Day's head off. Pistol swap is going to be good enough. But as Blaze falls, there's only 30 seconds left here in the round to really make quick work of anything. He needs to isolate a 1-versus-1 gunfight. Bendy's going to be just basically gifting him some shots onto him. Could have made him a bit weaker. Pistol is going to be good. I don't know why he didn't have the tack out there, but I get it. That's neither here nor there, I guess. St. Clair will win their round 4-4 in the S&D. We're tied up yet again. 2 rounds is all it takes for either of these two teams to move on.
Have all the searches we've seen gone round 11 today? I feel like we've been at 4-4. So. I think we've said, well, now this will be the 3rd time. 1st to 2 takes a search. But it's true. So 1st to 2
takes a search.
And, the S&Ds have been nothing short of amazing. And I mean, for St. Clair, this is their, what, 2nd situation where they're gearing towards round 11. I mean, of course, they would like this to not go to round 11. But either way, they're going to be on the defensive try, playing passive, playing their standard setup once again. Got the bomb working in and around Art. Slow-mo, kind of the one leading the charge, getting aggressive up open, and I compliment you for being smart. Please don't sprint out of open again at Priestley when you've been playing the entire time. Okay, good, you get the trade. Big Country finds another. I mean, tell me about him.
Thought maybe for a second he was going to throw things away, but good news. He's able to get in behind one. So 40 seconds the timer now. St. Clair has been in this situation so many times. But Slow-mo's just gotten himself all the way up and towards top here. If Priestley expects this, I will call wizardry. Somehow doesn't expect it though. Slow-mo jumps all the way down, but Priestley wins it with the AR. Now D-Day last alive in the backside spawn. 25 seconds left. St. Clair need to not only find this kill, but of course go ahead, find themselves the defuse. D-Day's AR in hand, won't be able to make quick work of that. Vaznev. St. Clair will be the first team to force match point here inside of the search in Detroit. SIUE. Once again, they're going to have to answer the call. Can you come back from a deficit against the Saints team?
Tough out of Slow-mo, not able to win that gunfight. But I mean, St. Clair, as far as process of elimination is concerned, bombs planted A. You haven't seen D-Day the entire round. Yeah, he's probably backtrack. And they go challenge it with enough time to get the defuse. Map point, series point. They can close it out. We've said that a few times now, so I'm hesitant, but they could end this one here, as they have been able to at multiple points in the series. Cougars, you know, what do you got left in you? Oh, jeez.
Oh, Slow-mo aggressive through the door. Blaze is forced to back off, and Slow-mo is so fortunate to not have died there. Blaze, you could say the same thing, though. Both players very weak and are able to escape. 9-5 leads the lobby. Here is Blaze. Bendy back line with a sniper, trying to find anybody on defense that might be willing to pop their head out. I thought maybe Anchor falls there. But even so, each team still holds their 4 lives, tighten it within themselves. Semtex around the right side corner. Won't be able to find anything just yet. Anchor doesn't want to push up. The bomb goes down. 45 seconds the timer.
I mean, surely you know Bendy's back here. You've got to head a route. You've got to get through the back. D-Day's going to invest as Slow-mo finds the first blood. So that's going to scramble. That is going to break the setup of St. Clair and force them all inside. Now you make your move. Now they advance up the map. Now they should have the timings possibly going their way here.
Slow-mo somehow stays alive, but Blaze up the staircase will actually force to back off to middle map. 22 seconds left. Slow-mo, everybody else on SIUE having to reel these last couple of seconds, trying to force their way out. Priestley's in the right side corner. They know where these last 2 players are, but as Slow-mo's just trying to go on the chase forward, he doesn't realize that Priestley's up. Priestley snaps for a 3rd, and that's like the 18th time today that I've cried out his name in pure pleasure. St. Clair take the search and destroy, and they finally ice up when they needed it most. They'll stay alive. They'll go to the losers finals and have a shot to get back to the grand finals and a qualification spot for LAN.
If anyone wants to make the big play for the squad, let it be Priestley. Find 3 in the round to close things out. Great work. You said it had been kind of a cut and dry search for everyone to this point. You end up getting Priestley and Blaze out to 10-6 and 10-5 respectively to take it in a round 10 fashion. No round 11s here for him.
Yeah.
They go to losers finals. They send SAE packing at least until this upcoming weekend. But finally, a glimpse of ice, something, and for St. Clair, a breath of relief after taking that one when you could have had it 2 maps ago.
Absolutely. Well, my lord, St. Clair, you survive another close series. How many times are going to be able to do that, though? That's the real question. You might have iced up for now. You had a chance to close it out in 3. You let the last 2 maps go the opposite way. You finally get things good inside of the search and destroy. But Jesus, man. I need to have you guys just win one that's not so close. How about that? I know you're trying to get yourselves some opportunities, maybe to play some close series, try to ice up. And I know it goes back to what we were talking to them about a whole year, interview after interviews. Yeah, we're trying to get our map pool up and everything. And well, now they got Expo to add into things, and well, it would have been very nice to see them be able to take a double 3-0 in that, and maybe that's what they wanted, right? You know, maybe they were hoping that they could keep their Expo control under wraps for a little bit, so they let SIUE come back. Copium, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say you are grasping it. I don't even know if I can say straws at this point, but again, at the end of the day, they pull out the series win, and that's kind of how, well, in case you didn't know, the rest of the season is going to go. Survive and advance at this point. Even if it's not the cleanest win, a win is a win at the end of the day. This one for slow-mo, just unlucky. Priestley hits the bunny hop as you hit the ground, and just has you in shambles. Tough scenes for the Cougars. Not able to take that game 5 after forcing it the distance. St. Clair, the Dream Killers here. At least stay alive for, well, what, they have 2 matches left in the dock. At least guaranteed 1 more.
All right, well, we send another team packing inside of the regional playoffs. The bracket still not to a head just yet. Still a lower finals to go ahead and have to take place here. St. Clair, they've done a great job of getting back to the point where they need to be. Problem is well, now they're going to have to go up against the team that 3-0'd them in the upper bracket. That's the Davenport Panthers. That is going to be a difficult matchup. And then, you know, just taking a trip back up to the grand finals. You know, there's a little team named Northwood up there, just a silly, goofy team.
Small little school, you might have heard of them.
You might have heard their Rocket League championships, or maybe their Valorant championships. I don't know. Heard their COD team's pretty decent too. Nope.
Decent. Yeah.
Tough road ahead for those Saints. It was a grip dip here in maps 1 and 2, and then I guess map 5, man. Like, you could have closed it out in 3, but I guess. But a good series across the board. Number 2 seed inside of the Midwest Division comes out on top of their series. Gives themselves an opportunity to fight for a LAN qualification spot, but not just too close yet. Again, still got to get through the lower finals if they want to have a chance to take on that striking and dashing Northwood roster.
Yeah, again, Davenport seems to have their numbers, so that's already going to be a handful of a matchup in and of itself. Interested to see, you know, kind of what the map pool will even be for that, given that they've already played, you know, in this playoff bracket. So really interesting series just between that alone. Even if they win, it is a matchup that we have seen many a times between St. Clair and Northwood. Northwood having bested them in the majority of those for sure. But I mean, this lower bracket, let alone this region, shaping up to be quite the finish here.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, across the board, CSUN, they played a very good series. They got up against St. Edwards. St. Edwards just had the ice there. And then SIUE, although they do fall to St. Clair, they played a phenomenal series. They played their asses off inside of that best of 5 series. So that being said, we've got the losers finals time here inside of our regional playoffs. It's been a long 2 days, and it's about to get even longer here as the grand finals will be up after our lower finals. Of course, that's how things work, and I know that's the linear order that you guys have come to expect it. So I really didn't need to say that, but I did because it's called stating the obvious in the casting world. So we'll send things to a break. When we come back, we'll have the lower finals here of multiple regions to go ahead and discuss. Don't go too far away from your setups, although I know you gamers won't be. We'll be back with the College COD playoffs in a bit.